Hello, you beautiful people. It is a beautiful day, and we are going to be hopping in a fantasy football draft. I believe we have 2 entries left where we can still get in the Rottweiler new underdog tournament. It's only a 4-entry max, so we got to get in these relatively quick. But yeah, we should be able to do 2 today at the very minimum and possibly hop in another draft or 2. But let's get this first one going. There are 8 spots open in this draft if you want to join us. And yeah, just in case you don't know what this tournament's the structure is, it is a new one. It's a $25 buy-in, a $300,000 prize pool. First place is $50,000, second place $25,000, third place $20,000, fourth place $15,000, all the way down the line. But what makes this special is it's just a 4-entry max where you don't have people just spamming 100 plus entries like, you know, your boy wants to do. But we get pick 6 here. Now, let's go ahead. Let's get this going. Augustus says $100 bet Mason takes Kyron Williams round 3. My guy, I'm going to let you know at pick 6, I am probably going to go with the wide receiver. In round 2, I'm either going to go Jonathan Taylor or another wide receiver. And then in round 3, if we started wide receiver, I will be taking Kyron Williams if he's there. So it's a pretty good bet, my friend. Reed says, just finished the top 40 wide receiver vid. Perfect timing. Appreciate you. My guy, Augustus says, can't wait to draft more flock drafts tomorrow. Yes, we should have another flock tournament on Underdog tomorrow night. Super pumped to get those in. Hopefully there are 20-second timers, but let's freaking go. And yeah, we're either going to be going with the Monroe St. Brown or Justin Jefferson. More likely than not at pick 6. Well, we'll see what happens. Bean Salad says, is just me or is the camera quality better? My guy, here's what it is. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know. I could have come up with anything. A long setup for no joke. Disappointing on my end. That was just straight up embarrassing. But yeah, Chase goes off the board at 4. So we are going to be getting with St. Brown or Jefferson at pick 6. St. Brown goes. We're going to go Jefferson. In your regular redraft league on ESPN or Yahoo, whatever it is, I'm going to take Brees. I'm going to take Bijan over Justin Jefferson. But specifically, if you are looking at these underdog best ball drafts where running backs will be fine values late, I'm going to go with Jefferson just so we can lock in some wide receiver position. Wide receiver points. Yes, I know. I was sitting there. I was running in my head what potential punchlines we could have had. And I was just going, nope, that's horrible. Nope, that's horrible. Nope, that's horrible. But happy to see it, Saram, as always. And let's freaking go. This is exciting. Now, Alcoholic Saints fan says, I've taken 23% Chris Olave this year. Quote, unquote, I'm coping. My guy, I can maybe see why you are an alcoholic if you're at 23% Olave. A little aggressive. Now, Marvin Harrison Jr. off the board at 12. This is the first underdog draft that I think I have seen in God knows how long where Garrett Wilson has fallen to the second round. It almost makes me think something's going on here. Legitimately, I probably have done 100 drafts in a row not seeing Garrett Wilson fall to the second. And now, I don't know what's going on. But let's move this over. Like I said, we are either going to be going wide receiver or Jonathan Taylor at 19. We'll see what this room gets us. I'm pretty sure we may end up going Taylor because Nico Collins goes ahead of him. Olave goes ahead of him. And now the team that's on the clock took Breece Hall in round 1. They go Jonathan Taylor round 2. They go running back out the gate. So the question is, in this room, are we likely to get Kyron? No, if you look at the way the ADP is lined up, right now, Kyron Williams is actually trending up draft boards in a way. So I don't know if we're guaranteed to get Kyron at pick 30 like we were earlier in the offseason on Underdog. So I think we just pivot to Barkley, and we'll see. Joseph says, happy BR Keeper League, no Lamb CMC. Ranked Jefferson, Chase Hill, scared of Hill because of the age. Am I overthinking it? Yes, I think you are, because even if Tyreek Hill were to regress by 10% this season, he still outscores Jefferson and Chase. I think if it's a league where you only keep 1 or 2 guys, you don't need to be thinking long-term either. I just go ahead and I keep Tyreek Hill. Now, Of course, real quick, if you don't know what's going on here, we are drafting on Underdog Fantasy. This is where I draft every single day. I've done it for years and years and years. It's best ball, so no time commitment during the year. It's how I draft hundreds of teams every year. It's how I won $150,000 on Underdog 2 years ago. And of course, if you want to join a draft with us, you can find that link in the description, in the comment section, in the live chat. We actually have flock tournaments dropping on Underdog every Monday and Thursday night until the season starts. We'll be drafting every tournament every single night, though. And of course, we also have it set up where if you use code FLOCK on Underdog this season, you will get our 2024 fantasy football rankings. You will get my 2024 fantasy football draft guide updated every single Sunday, sent straight to your email to what you signed up to Underdog with. Plus, you'll get a 50% deposit bonus up to $250 and a Christian McCaffrey special pickup more than less than half a total yard because we signed up that 3-year deal with Underdog. We got you hooked up with that, so make sure you take advantage. And also, these are the states Underdog is available in. So just make sure you're in one of these states. And if you are, you can hop in an Underdog draft. Pretty much every state, you can see the map. But let's move this over. I am going to continue to take DJ Moore over Malik Neighbors. I know that Neighbors has great training camp highlights. I know Malik Neighbors is a phenomenal prospect. I get it. And I tweeted this out a couple days ago that I do believe Malik Neighbors is going to be a great NFL wide receiver. I just don't necessarily know if Malik Neighbors is going to be able to effectively move the needle in fantasy football, given the fact that you are looking at someone that is projecting to be in a very bad offense this next season. And right now, the Bears do project out to be an average to slightly above average team. Sam says, 14-team Superflex Dynasty, who are we taking at the 104? If it is a rookie draft, I am for sure going to be going with the quarterback. In a 14-team Superflex rookie draft, it should go Caleb, Harrison, Daniels, May. But in a 14-team Superflex league, quarterback is going to be very hard to come by if you look at the supply and demand. So I'm going to be pushing those quarterbacks up. If it is a startup draft, we're going to be going in order either Mahomes or Allen, and then your choice between Jalen Hurts, Joe Burrow, CJ Stroud. Obviously, Stroud will be at 3. You're really looking at Jalen Hurts or Joe Burrow at 4. But whatever you're doing, you're going quarterback in a 14-team Superflex. Bridger says, Dynasty Superflex startup. Running back 1's Cook. Running back 2 is Ramadre with Warren, Spears, Bigsby on the bench. What should we do with Stevenson in a trade? You should just stand still unless you're a rebuilding roster. If you're a rebuilding team, then yes, go ahead and sell Ramadre Stevenson. But if you're a contending team, I think we're probably just going to be holding on as is. And yeah, we're going to go take Travis Kelce here at pick 43. What's exciting about taking Travis Kelce this late is there is a possibility that Mahomes makes it to us at pick 54. If Mahomes makes it to us at pick 54, we're living in a dream. It is phenomenal, and I could not be more excited. That's the good side of taking Travis Kelce at 43. The bad side of taking Travis Kelce at 43 is if Mahomes does go and all of a sudden Dalton Kincaid or Mark Andrews makes it to us at 54, I may feel a little bit bad about this, but not that bad, though. Now, Mr. Philly Wub says, draft 2, Evans, Nico, or Higgins. This year I'm going to go Nico because I think he's in the best offense out of them. Madness says, hey, Mason, is the Mastiff draft guaranteed money right now? So if you're looking at Underdog tournaments, just real quick, we'll pivot over and I'll show this. The Mastiff draft is the $1,000 draft. And if you look at the little G that's on the top, that means it's a guaranteed prize pool. So say the Mastiff is a $1,000 buy-in, and Underdog's guaranteeing a $220,000 prize pool, or Best Ball Mania, right? There's a $15 million prize pool guaranteed. If it doesn't fill, and say there are only $14 million of drafts entered, then Underdog has to throw another $1 million into the league pot. That applies to all the tournaments that have that little green G on them, my friend. Now, with that being said, do I think that that tournament's not going to fill and Underdog's going to have to throw in a couple 100,000 into it? Probably not. It's probably going to fill. So I wouldn't overreact there thinking that you're about to get a massive overlay on one of those tournaments, because the high stakes drafters will just jump in. There are the tournaments that I think Underdog may have to throw extra money into the league pot. That looks like there may be a little bit of an overlay. We're going to take Terry McLaurin. Y'all know I'm not a big McLaurin guy. I am underweight Terry McLaurin, but getting him here does seem like a reasonable price point if we can target Jaden Daniels a little later on. But the tournaments that look like they may not fill are the marathon and the sprint. I'm not exactly sure. And of course, I'm not guaranteeing anything, but those would be the ones that I'm on the lookout for the overlay with. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, we're going to go Scary Terry 54. And we're still playing catch up at wide receiver. Once you get through the first 7 rounds on Underdog, wide receiver just gets to be disgusting where I don't want to be drafting at all anymore. So I think taking Terry McLaurin here before that fall off happens isn't the worst idea in the world. Okay. Art says Jefferson or Amon-Ra, keeper league, half PPR, 10-team format. They are so close neck and neck with me that if it's a keeper league, I'm going to be using that as a tiebreaker that I'd rather have Jefferson for the long term. I think St. Brown's in a much better situation this year. I think Justin Jefferson's a much better talent. So redraft, if you wanted to go with St. Brown over Jefferson, you do you. Dynasty, I would for sure go Jefferson, or same thing, keeper. Sneak says, hey Mason, is there a 60-second start time on the higher stakes tournaments with 30-second picks? Just worried I'd be at work once they fill. Yeah, so personally, what I've been doing with the high stakes tournaments, and I completely understand where you're at, is if you want to get into like a $500 underdog draft, $1,000 underdog draft, and you're worried about like entering it in and it doesn't fill right away, and then you're not at your phone when it fills and you end up auto, I would just recommend doing a slow draft. I'm in a couple slow drafts, high stakes drafts on Underdog right now that are the 8-hour timers for that exact reason. I didn't want to enter in a draft and then all of a sudden it fills and I'm just completely screwed, right? So I would just recommend for you to go through and do the slow draft unless you know, okay, I'm going to be around my phone for the next 2 hours. I'll enter in the 30-second timer. And then if it fills, cool, I can go ahead and I can draft. And then once you have to go somewhere, you can leave the draft. Like if, say you enter in a $500 underdog draft, and I do this all the time, I'll do this afterwards and see if we can fill a 501 if y'all want to see. But if I see that's not going to fill, I just immediately leave. And then the $500 gets added right back to your account, like immediately. Not so good gaming says my normal 10-team full PBR is now my 12-team. Any changes I should look for in the draft? 2 out of the last 4 years with bully tight end, more or less valuable. It's going to be less valuable just because wide receiver depth is going to be a little bit harder to come by. So yeah, I would not be going with the bully tight end strategy unless it's a league where you're going to start 2 wide receivers, 1 flex. Then I definitely want to be grabbing an elite tight end. Okay. Now, let's see. Evan Ingram off the board, pick 74. Let's move this over. Ooh, might be. Wrong button. Jackson Smith and Jigba goes. So, yeah, if you look at wide receivers now, the best wide receivers available are DeAndre Hopkins, Jamison Williams. This is why we essentially got stuck taking DJ Moore, Terry McLaurin where we did. Don't love their price points, but I do think you kind of just have to mix them in so you're not having to take DeAndre Hopkins at 78. Okay, Lil Sack. Pretty funny name, not going to lie, on the clock. Goes CJ Stroud. That's the team that has Stephon Diggs. Don't blame them to go Stroud at all. We're just going to keep being boring. We're going to take best player available. We will go with David Montgomery. I'm not the biggest Montgomery fan in the world because I do think Gibbs gets everything as a receiver here, and I think Jahmyr Gibbs does have a red zone role. So I think David Montgomery has a large role with, honestly, kind of meaningless touches between the 20s. But there's a chance that David Montgomery has the red zone role again, and there's a chance that Gibbs goes down, and if Jahmyr Gibbs goes down, David Montgomery almost immediately projects out to be a top 5 running back with how good this offense would be. So we'll take Montgomery. So Rom says, in a 12-team PPR shallow, later tonight at the 109, Gibbs at 9, then Kyron if he falls. If not, I'm thinking Marvin over Pacheco, Olave, Adams, Etienne, H.N., Pittman. Saw your video, of course, reckon it's too aggressive. 1, I really agree with going Gibbs at 9 there. 2, I don't think it's too aggressive at all. Really, the only thing I think you'd be considering is if you wanted to go running back out the gate, depending on the wide receiver values you expect in the middle rounds. But yeah, I wouldn't fault you at all for going that direction, my friend. Okay. Now, so after we take Montgomery, you have a run on running backs going with Kamara, Aaron Jones, Ramondre, Najee, James Conner. Jordan Addison goes pick 86. Trustlock, happy to see it. Says, just bought the Mother Flocker package this morning, ready to dominate leagues. Hell yes, my guy. Love the new profile pick as well. Daniel says, drafting in a 14-team Superflex best ball league with friends. I have picked 14. What should the strategy be? Thanks, bro. Appreciate you, my guy. In a 14-team Superflex league, you need to be going quarterback early. You need to be hammering him in. Because if you just go through and do the simple math, supply and demand, and I know this all from Dynasty. I've been playing in Superflex League since 2017. I played in almost every Superflex League you can imagine. If it is, everybody in a Superflex format should have the goal of trying to get to gross, but we're going to take Cortland Sutton. Everybody in a Superflex League should have the goal of trying to get to 3 starting quarterbacks on that roster. That way, if you have an injury, that way during the bye weeks, you can always start 2. In a 10-team league, if you do the supply and demand, 32 starting quarterbacks, 10 teams, everybody's easily going to be able to get 3 starters, and a couple teams are going to have 4. In a 14-team format, if everybody tries to get 3, what's going to end up happening is half the league's going to have 3 starting quarterbacks. A couple teams are going to have 2 starting quarterbacks, and a couple teams are only going to have 1. And the supply and demand is going to get thrown way the hell off, where it's going to be extremely difficult to find that third quarterback. And players like Aaron Rodgers, Daniel Jones, these guys are going to get pushed up dramatically later on. So in your 14-team Superflex League, you need to put a massive premium on QB. After we go Sutton, Hopkins goes immediately after. Can y'all please spam the chat? Would you rather have DeAndre Hopkins or Cortland Sutton? Did I make a mistake here? Obviously, I was going to go DeAndre Hopkins pre-knee injury, but now that the knee injury is there, I think in the new underdog tournaments where DeAndre Hopkins has the later ADP, I'm not going to be taking him over Sutton. If it was Best Ball Mania where the vast majority of the offseason teams took DeAndre Hopkins in round 6, there I think I go Hopkins. In this tournament, I think I go Sutton. But we have Sutton, Hopkins, Sutton, Hopkins. Sutton. Okay, so it looks like most people are taking Cortland Sutton. Okay, so Jordan Love off the board. We are going to take Jaden Daniels. A big note that I want to have here is Zach Moss is falling down boards in a big time way. Chase Brown is skyrocketing up. Zach Moss is falling quickly. And you see that as an example here with Chase Brown going before Zach Moss. This is going to be the new thing that you have in fantasy football drafts at the moment. Sly Guy says, I'm picking 12 in your current draft or the first one needed on stream. Rate my draft while you're live. The first one needed on stream. Is this... Okay, Sly Guy Brayton. I got you, my guy. I got you. All right, let's go ahead and let's look at this. So Harrison Debo at the gate. So obviously going for a unique build here. I think you're probably reaching on these, at least reaching on Debo over Garrett Wilson. But at the same time, I think this will be unique compared to the rest of the fields. I don't like reaching on Kyler there at 60. I understand that you're getting the stack, but at the same time, there'll be other teams that get Kyler, say, at 84 to pair up with Harrison. So my issue with the team overall, and I mean, it's a very well-balanced roster. I think it has some merit. But if every pick in one of these tournaments, you're reaching on someone by 10 picks, past 10 picks ahead of ADP, you're going to be going up against a lot of other teams in the tournament that have those same guys, but paired up with better players, if that makes sense. So I definitely think that there are some spots where you can afford to reach on a player well ahead of ADP to create a unique build, but to do it consistently is probably a little bit tough. Okay. Zach Moss finally off the board, 114. I think we are going to go ahead. We will take Javonte Williams. If you look at the potential quarterback stacks, Purdy, we don't have any Niners. Lawrence, we don't have any Jags. I don't want to have to take one of those guys and then force something later on because those quarterbacks don't have a ton of rushing upside. Let's move this down. Here for the memes, long time member of the Flock says, pick a side for a win now team with Lamar, Brees, Kyron, AJ Brown, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Garrett, Hockenson, Hollywood, Purdy. Swift, Najee, Rice, or Barkley and Pollard. So obviously this is dynasty here. Looking at Pollard versus Najee, it doesn't matter. Tomato, tomato, they're kind of in the same boat. You give the slight edge to Najee, but they're about the same. Barkley versus Rashee Rice, DeAndre Swift. If you are wanting to go all in on a contending build right now, I think you go Saquon Barkley. But obviously, Rashee Rice is one of these assets that could continue to rise in dynasty value. Whereas Barkley, you're cashing in for the production in the short term. You should expect Barkley to be worth less in dynasty 12 months from now than he is today. Mr. Filthy Wub says, in redraft leagues, do you prefer 10-teamers or 12-teamers? For sure, I prefer 12-team leagues. I think 10-team leagues, the supply and demand kind of gets thrown off where depth doesn't really matter. And if you're going to be playing in a 10-team format, I definitely think you need to add in a few flex spots. TT Warrior says, did you talk about the new marathon draft? To be honest with you, I didn't even see that Underdog put out a new tournament today. They put out another new tourney. Oh, you're talking about the marathon that they put out a very long time ago. Yeah, the marathon's cumulative scoring where there's no fantasy football playoff tournament at the end, which is a very interesting thing depending on what you like. Okay, so let's move this back over. I'm making merch for everybody coming to the meetup. I just hired a company in Austin to make a bunch, and I did miss out on the opportunity to put something that said do. I should have done it. Okay. Let's see. If we're looking at Tua, Goff, neither guy really plays for this team with the way we're constructed. So you know what we're going to do? We're so far behind at wide receiver, but I think we're just going to go ahead. We're going to take our 5th running back in Nick Chubb and call it a day. This is a tournament where we're trying to optimize for weeks 15, 16, 17. So even if Chubb misses the beginning of the season, I think we're solid. 50 Cal says, redraft 12-team full BBR single flex. Have the 101, debating to take Lamb or Tyreek or just to stay with CMC. Also, if I take Hill, is HN round 2 okay? Yes, it is. And if it's a single flex league, wide receiver depth should be really easy to come by. So I personally am taking McCaffrey. I'll say I think Lamb is the safer pick, but I think McCaffrey has a higher ceiling, if that makes sense. Pokemon Deck Review says, I'm trying to come up to the meetup, but don't have PayPal. Are there any alternative payment methods? I think if you just click PayPal, they'll let you just pay through your card there, unless I'm mistaken. Please try that. And if there's an issue, just message me like Mason Dodd at flockfantasy.com. Shoot me an email, and I'll be happy to look at it for you, my friend. And of course, real quick, if you have not planned coming to the meetup yet, I better change your mind here somehow, some way. One, you get to come talk to me. That's a selling point enough. Two, you get to come talk in person to some people that are in the chat, assuming we have some of y'all coming out. Three, we have a ton of fantasy football YouTubers that are going to be there that if you don't want to talk to me, no harm, no foul, you can talk to them. 4, you can meet people to get some leagues going. 5, there'll be half price beer. There'll be free merch. Should be a ton of fun. I'm sorry that we have to sell tickets. I just have to tell the venue how many people are coming. Tickets are on flockfantasy.store if you were wanting to come. Flockfantasy.store. You can see it there. Tickets are only like $15. Like I said, I just need to tell the venue who's coming. But I think we may make a weird pick here. We're going to try something a little bit off. We are going to go ahead. We are going to take Tua unstacked. We don't have Tyreek. We don't have Waddle. This is going to be a spot where we go with an unstacked Tua so we put ourselves in a position where we only have to take 2 quarterbacks. We can still go Jonnu Smith later. We can still go Odell Beckham Jr. later. Is it ideal? Hell to the no. Is it different than the rest of the field? Definitely. Cindy says, my man, slow draft. Chase, Waddle, Metcalf, ETN, McBride. Who's McConk? Oh, Lad McConkey. Okay, never mind. If I'm looking at Lad, JSN, or Coleman with this team in particular, it looks like we have a lot of guaranteed production at the beginning of the season. So I think I am probably going to be going with Coleman. And the reason being is if I'm looking at Coleman versus Lad, I go Lad if I need to set ourselves up with a quarterback later on with Herbert. But you already have the ability to go Burrow, Tua, Geno, Kyler later. So I don't think the quarterback stack setup matters too much. So I'd probably just go ahead and take Keon. Kyle says, bring one of these events to Florida. My guy, I had a meetup in Tampa 2-3 years ago. Whenever I lived in Tampa, we had a meetup. Shout out to anybody who went to the Tampa meetup. It's a ton of fun. But, and also I will say, I know we have some people coming from out of town to Austin, Texas to go to the meetup. Like I said, the only reason we're doing the tickets is strictly so I can tell the venue how many people are coming. So all you have to do is if you're coming out of town and you're getting a hotel, just send me an email, Mason Dodd, DODD at flockfantasy.com. Say, hey, Mason, I need a ticket for me and my wife. I need 2 tickets. Here's a hotel confirmation we got. We're staying in Austin. Because if you get a hotel, I'm pretty damn sure you're coming to the meetup. So, and then, yeah, I'll just save you 2 tickets so you don't have to get one. So if you want to get you can do the same thing. Get me a flight ticket, whatever it is. Just give me some confirmation that you're coming other than, trust me, bro, I'll be there. Yeet says, non-PPR 16-team league. Quarterbacks usually gone by the 3rd round. Do you think we should try to use the 206 on someone like Anthony Richardson or just grab the 2 best wide receivers on the board? If quarterbacks are gone by the 3rd round, you have no other option. Take that quarterback in the 2nd, especially in a non-PPR format. Quarterback's going to make up a higher percentage of your starting lineup output from week to week perspective. But just the supply and demand of the position in a 16-team format is so thrown off that it is very difficult to navigate. Cap says, Mason, I'm moving to Tampa, aka St. Pete, in a month. How do you like it? Weather was really nice, nicer than Austin. Food was horrible. Food in Florida was way worse than the food in Austin. Girls look pretty good, not gonna lie. I don't know how else. What else am I supposed to say about it? City is. I'm not. There were cool gyms that I would go to, but. Okay, Danny says, what's the email used to send the draft guide? Mason Dodd at flockfantasy.com. So, like I said, if you sign up to Underdog Fantasy and you use code FLOCK and you made that $10 deposit and you made that account in 2024, you will get an emailed updated draft guide every Sunday night with an email updated rankings list, updated ADP cheat sheet. The whole 9 yards of that will come from Mason Dodd at flockfantasy.com. All right. So let's move this over. Wide receiver, we have Jefferson, DJ Moore, Terry McLaurin, Cortland Sutton, Demario Douglas. Running back, we have Barkley, Rashad White, David Montgomery, Javonte Williams, Nick Chubb. Quarterback, we have Jaden Daniels stacked up with Terry McLaurin. We have Tua unstacked so far. Not ideal. He doesn't run the ball, but we can still go Odell. We can still go Johnny later on. And then we have Travis Kelce and Hunter Henry at tight end. Hitman says, Mason, what draft spots are you liking this year? Really anywhere in the top half of the draft. I think this year, and obviously this is the case a lot of years, but especially this season, because I view the early 2nd round very similar to the late 2nd round. If you get a top 6 pick, honestly, a top 8 pick, I think you're just at a significant advantage. Anywhere but a bottom 4 pick. But Brian, welcome to being a member of the flock. Happy to have you, my friend. Okay. Mr. Burns says, what if we join the flock? Do we still get the cheat sheet? Yes. So if you are a member of flockfantasy.com, look at 2024 ADP consensus. And there, what you'll see is, and I'm going to update this every single Sunday for everybody. I manually entered all the ADP from Sleeper, all the ADP from Underdog, all the ADP from ESPN, all the ADP from Yahoo. This next update, I'm going to put in the ADP from NFL Fantasy as well because we had some requests for that. And then we averaged everything out, sorted by the average to come up with an ADP cheat sheet for everyone that you can take to your draft. And also I left all the columns in with the platform that you're drafting on. So you can see, if I'm in ESPN, these are probably the best values that I should be going for. And same thing, if I'm in Yahoo, these are maybe the guys I should be looking to avoid. So we'll go ahead. We will take Wan'Dale Robinson, 174. We just need to catch up at wide receiver at this point. Jimmy says, 10-team league, what are your favorite draft spots? I would say same thing. I mean, just really anywhere inside the first 8 picks, because I do think that there's a significant tier drop after the first 8 guys. So really, as long as you're not picks 9 or 10, I think you're going to be fine. JT says, so you didn't do any work. Yes, with the ADP consensus, I did not do any work. With the draft guide, there are hundreds of pages of an ungodly amount of information on every player. There, I've worked for months and months and months and months, my friend. But with the ADP cheat sheet. It is exactly as advertised. It is an ADP cheat sheet for all fantasy football platforms. Okay. Now let's move this over. Gino goes, K. Dotton off the board. So like I said, we are definitely setting ourselves up with a 3 tight end build. We do want to take Jonnu with Tua. I mean, honestly, am I sitting here and acting like, oh, the Tua stack's going to make so much? It's going to be so important that we have Jonnu. It's going to be so important that we have Odell. Probably not. We're just giving some lip service here, but it is what it is. It was a bad pick, and I'm trying to justify it any way that we can. Okay. Malachi Corley goes 182. Jonnu off. So it looks like we are just going to be stuck with Odell, and that's it. We can go Ben Sinnott and go just all in on this Washington offense with Jaden Daniels, Terry McLaurin, and Sinnott. Okay, DJ Chark, 185. Daniel Jones goes. We can continue to just... Oh, what's the news on Roman Wilson? Sheds walking boot, spotted trading camp, blah, blah, blah. There's just no reason to take him there. I think we're going to go Franklin. This will actually be our first rookie off the board. But yes, real quick, if you have not done so already, go down there, drop a like on the stream. If we hit 300 likes on this live stream, we'll fire up another draft after this, ladies and gentlemen. So, yeah, if you want another draft, go down there, hit that like button, and hell, well, I mean, we'll sit here and we'll draft all night. Okay. Let's move this down. And at 198, more likely than not, we do want to be going with the tight end because we're just going to queue up and take Odell Beckham Jr. at 211. Okay. Drew says, I'd love to get my hands on one of those flock drinking containers. Yeah, but this is... Let me show this off. This was a Christmas present from my aunt back, I want to say, it was when I lived in Tampa, so 2022? Something like that. Scott, happy to see you, my friend. And let's go. Devontae Walker off the board. We are tight end and Odell Beckham Jr. in this off. Stenkberg says, why didn't you take Luke McCaffrey there? 1, I'm not a big Luke McCaffrey guy. And 2, I think I'd rather have Ben Sinnott to complete the double stack. Hitman says, Mason, how early do you feel the elite quarterback should go in a 10-team redraft league? Always enjoy your visit. Appreciate you, my guy. Obviously, 10-team redraft league. So if you're going to be looking at taking 2 picks off each round, I would probably be looking at about the early to mid third, because the early to mid third is picks like 22, 23, 24, 25. Okay. Let's see. Yoshi goes. So we're going to take Sinnott here to pair up with Daniels as our third tight end. Then we're going to queue up Odell Beckham Jr. and then some other wide receivers just in case we do not get Odell. But it's more likely than not, we should have Odell coming our direction. And honestly, maybe we go Malik Washington if we don't get Odell. But we're going to hop in another draft here. We're going to get into another $25 underdog draft. It's going to be the Rottweiler. Again, this is the last Rottweiler draft I can personally do since you can only max it out at 4. But tomorrow night, we should have the flock tournament that we can get 3 drafts in, which will be exciting. But Jared says, ready for the House of Dragon tonight, Mason. Is it really the season finale already? You're kidding. Dear God. I did not know it was the season. Can someone confirm? Is it the season finale of House of Dragon? Yeah, and we're stuck here with pick 9, of course. Every other draft, we are pick 9. It is what it is. But season finale tonight. I was talking with my girlfriend, so obviously we've been watching House of Dragon. And I feel like I'm just such a nerd. Like, in so many different ways, I'm just the biggest nerd ever. But I was telling her, House of Dragon, literally, if you removed the dragons, it would be a garbage show But any episode that has the dragons, I'm losing my mind. They look so cool. Like it is just a 1-for-1. The more scenes that include a dragon, the better the episode is. If we go with a scene that doesn't have a dragon in it, I could care less. Like there are a couple episodes that we've seen no dragons. I'm like, this was the worst show I've ever seen. And then like the one from yesterday when there's so much dragon action, I'm on the edge of my seat losing my mind. Matthew says 12-team PPR, fourth pick. Who do we take first? Best strategy. I think I'd probably be going with a running back like Bijan or Brees at 4, just assuming that CMC, Lamb, Tyreek are all off if Lamb, Tyreek aren't. And then if you go with that running back, I'm probably going to look to go with an elite tight end and wide receiver at the 2-3 turn. If you go with the wide receiver, I think we're probably going to look to go with Devon Achane and the elite tight end at the 2-3 turn. Okay. Devin says, I'm late, Mason. How's your tournament going to look on Underdog? Buy it in rules. So, yeah, we did a tournament on Thursday. So, the Flock tournament on Underdog. And real quick, we are going to get Breece Hall at pick 9. Let's freaking go. This is why I'm actually kind of fine with pick 9 on Underdog now. Because you do get Breece Hall falling to here a lot. Which, I mean, y'all know I'm all about drafting Breece. But anyway, so the Flock tournament, it will be live again tomorrow night. We're going to drop them every Monday and Thursday. It's a 3 max entry, so you can only draft it 3 times per tournament. It's a $10 buy-in. It's a setup where one team out of your 12-team league will advance to the fantasy football playoffs. Then in week 15, it's just a single matchup. You're going up against one other person in week 15 to advance to week 16. And then week 16, it's the same thing. You're going up against one person straight up in week 16. And then you get to week 17, and it's a 100-person final. So, I mean, from what I heard, a ton of people really liked it. It filled in a couple hours on Thursday night. So, yeah, every Monday and Thursday till the season starts, we'll have the Flock tournament going. And we're going to get Marvin Harrison Jr. here at 16. Super unique build to start off with Breece Hall and Harrison if you look at the way the ADPs line up. And obviously, we know we want to be going with at least one wide receiver in the first 2 rounds on Underdog. So this does, I mean, I love this start. Let's freaking go. CJ says, can you see on the app how your team is doing? Yes, you can. It'll be obviously during the season. You're not going to be able to see how your team's doing before the season starts. But yeah, of course. And real quick, if you want to get in the Flock tournament with us tomorrow or Thursday or whenever it is, or you want to get in a regular Underdog draft with us at any point, I'm doing these every single night. They're best ball, so there's no time commitment at all during the year. So I draft 100 teams every offseason. So I won 150,000 on Underdog 2 years ago. And yeah, if you want to join the draft with us, you can find that link in the description, comment section, live chat. If you use code FLOCK, you will get my 2024 fantasy football draft guide, my 2024 fantasy football rankings, a 2024 ADP consensus cheat sheet, all 3 of which are updated every Sunday and sent to the email that you signed up to Underdog Fantasy with. As long as you made that account, signed up, and made that deposit in 2024, you're going to get that email every Sunday until the season starts with updates. I, right now, have Zach, who's working on the draft guide for us, updating the draft guide with all the updates that I made to the rankings this week, plus all the updates that I made to the write-ups. We had to update Chuba Hubbard, Jonathan Brooks, DeAndre Hopkins, Calvin Ridley, with all the injury news that we've had this week. And he should get that to me, and I'll get that sent out with an email tonight for everybody. But yeah, you can, like I said, find that link in the description, comment section. And also, if you use code FLOCK, you're going to get 50% deposit bonus up to $250. And since we are now with Underdog for the next 3 years, they hooked everybody up that has ever used code FLOCK or will use code FLOCK leading up till week 1 with a Christian McCaffrey special pick'em, higher, lower, for week 1 against the Jets, which I'm really excited about. Now, let's move this over. Stephon Diggs here is okay. I mean, if I'm looking at Diggs versus Laporta, I would rather have Laporta straight up. But the thing is, a lot of times Laporta will make it back to you at 40. And if Laporta doesn't make it back to you at 40, you still have the option to go Travis Kelce. It's RG says, what's up, bro? Thinking of switching things up. Best ball, picking at 2. Took Lamb and Ayuk. At 3, should we go Kyron or Laporta? I actually think this is super interesting to go through and reach on one of those guys based off ADP. I personally at 3 go Kyron more often in the 3rd, just because you can set yourself up to maybe go Lamar and Andrews at the 4 or 5 turn. So I don't go with Laporta a lot at the beginning of the 3rd, just because in the 5th round, you can go Andrews, you can go Kincaid a lot on that side of the draft board. But I love the idea in general, my guy. Okay. Let's move this in. Adrian says, was just in this draft with you and didn't know. Hell yes, my guy. Thanks for stopping in. Okay. So Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts goes. So Jalen Hurts goes to the A.J. Brown team. Not really any big surprises there. So like we discussed, big reason why we go Diggs over Laporte in the last round is because we're setting ourselves up to go Travis Kelce here. But real quick, I have a special guest ready to enter in this live stream. Please, drum roll. Can everybody get ready in the chat right now? This is a big freaking deal. She's ready. She's ready. Are you ready to come in? Yeah, I know. I heard you scratching on the door. You want to tell everybody hi? You want to tell everybody hi? Get up here. Oh. Come on. Come on. Oh. Girl. Why? What are you doing? Say hi. Say hi. What are you doing? I know, baby. Okay. A little bit of a workout trying to pick her up. Okay, you're not allowed under the desk. You know that, girl. Go lay in your spot. But let's go. Liquid Silk says, how bad was Puka's knee injury today? Honestly, I'm not thinking it's too bad. You're still seeing Puka here go at pick 7 in this draft. I'll pull up the official report just so we can read this and make sure that we're not missing out on anything, because I did draft Puka. I've been in a $1,000 underdog draft, and unless I'm mistaken, I believe Puka was our first round pick. So I'm setting up a prayer that it's not bad. Okay, so let's go through. Looks like you have some fantasy doctors speculating. Looks like it'd be a right PCL sprain or patella bone bruise if it's strictly impact related with the ground. Seems minor. He jogged off after. Okay. Puka Nacua left practice with a little over an hour into it after team drills period and did not return to play, but stayed in uniform and helmet on the sideline. He had a bag of ice wrapped around his right knee. Sean McVay says he's not sure what happened. Yes, I'm definitely not panicking on any of this, but it is what it is. I mean, maybe for the time being, you go with Garrett Wilson over Puka Nacua so you don't have to stress about it. Aiden says, oh, yes, the social media doctors. Nothing better than the social media doctors. Nothing better than that. All right, let's move this over. So sadly, we take Kelce here. We don't give Mahomes making it to us. Not the end of the world. Bean Salad says, what was the Chuba news? There was no Chuba news. The reason that we had to update the draft guide with the Chuba Hubbard profile was because we had Jonathan Brooks news, where it sounds like Jonathan Brooks is not ahead of schedule at all. Jonathan Brooks is for sure missing the entire preseason, and the coaching staff made it sound like he could be missing into the year as well. Blake says 14-team BBR drafted 7th. We have Purdy, Achane, Swift, Jefferson, Debo, phenomenal in a 14-team format. Because, I mean, I know you're asking if your running backs are too weak. If this was a 10-team league, yeah, this would be a garbage squad. But, I mean, if you think about this from the perspective of a 14-team league, is Brock Purdy a top 14 quarterback? Probably. We have a QB1. Is Achane a top 14 running back? Yes, we have a running back 1. Is Swift a top 28 running back? Yes, we have an RB2. If you make the argument, we have an elite receiver with Jefferson. We possibly have Debo, another wide receiver 1 if he can be top 14. Pickens is well ahead of the average option that you're going to have there for the flex in a 14-team format. And Pitts, really like it. I mean, I would look to the waiver wire and see what we could have outside of potentially Tucker Kraft, just given the Tucker Kraft injury. But obviously, 14-team league, it may be a little bit tough to find value there. But Skylar, welcome to being a member of the flock. And oh crap, we are on the clock. Let's pivot over. Tight end, I don't think we're super excited to try to force a bully tight end build. We will go ahead. We will take Rachaad White. White was very inefficient last year. I'm not going to sit here and act like Rachaad White's some phenomenal running back. It's not a great offense either. But Rachaad White does have one big thing going for him, and that is he is going to catch every single ball out of this backfield. The only other added guy in is Bucky Irving. Bucky Irving is a fine pass catcher, but I don't know. I mean, TT Warrior says you've taken a quite a bit of Rachaad White lately. Let me go ahead and I'll pull up how much Rachaad White we have. Because Rachaad White used to go a lot earlier than this, and we used to not take him, but I just think round 6 is a fine price point for the receiving upside that he's going to have. But yeah, let me tell you exactly how much Rachaad White I've drafted. And I'm taking a lot of White in like eliminator style contests as well. I have 11% Rachaad White now. Zamir White's another guy. I went from drafting 0 Zamir White, where y'all remember me at the beginning of the offseason saying that his price was foolish, to now I'm up to 10% Zamir White, because when he goes in round 8, I'm fine with it. Okay. Let's see. Stroud goes 72. Interesting to see that team take Stroud with no Texans receivers. Kamara off the board, 74. For us, it would be nice if we could find a wide receiver value making it to us at 81 when we only have Harrison, Diggs, Ridley. And then also for us to take Calvin Ridley here over Jaden Reed. The primary reason that we are doing this is just given the injury to DeAndre Hopkins. Previously, I wasn't taking a lot of Ridley at the 5-6 turn. But now you have the Hopkins injury. DeAndre Hopkins going into year 12 of his NFL career. I do think it gives you some reason to go ahead and push up Ridley just a bit. Okay, DeAndre Hopkins goes 80. So this is an awkward spot where if we wanted that wide receiver that we were previously talking about, it would be Jamison Williams. It would be Jordan Addison. And I know y'all are going to absolutely hate me for this, but in a tournament style contest where we're trying to maximize the upside for weeks 15, 16, 17, and where you look at the running backs that are going to be available at pick 88 versus the running backs that are available at pick 81, I think they're all going to be about the same. We're going to go ahead. We will take Jordan Addison. I know the issues with Addison. Trust me, I get it. But here, he's going right between DeAndre Hopkins and Curtis Samuel. I'm okay with that price. Okay. Let's move this down. James Conner off the board at 83. Okay, let's look at this. Let's look at this interesting strategy. John asking to be a moderator on the channel. And then a minute after John asked to be a moderator and represent the flock, such as I want to say the moderators that do represent the flock, like Scott, like Teresa, out here every night, always being extremely nice to everybody. Scott's last message is, welcome, Skylar, with a flock emoji. John's strategy to become a moderator is the next message he sends after this is, Finn likes BBC. Do you think that those are the messages we want representing us, my friend? Probably not. Probably not. But Josh says, already have Saquon. Should we do Gibbs and Purdy for Kyron and Stroud? Gibbs versus Kyron. Give me Gibbs relatively easily. Purdy versus Stroud. Give me Stroud. I'm probably going to stick with Gibbs. Unless you think I get dealt, then maybe you can pivot. Now, let's move this over. After we go Najee, you have Swift, Warren, Zamir. Jonathan Brooks goes at 85, which is interesting given the news that we had today. I kind of assumed that Jonathan Brooks would be falling here a bit. Okay. Move this over. Sutton goes 95. For us, I mean, we have a very well-balanced start. Really, the only thing that we need to be considering here is where our quarterbacks are going to come from. It was frustrating, of course, seeing Kyler Murray go at pick 78 to a team with no Cardinals. It would have been great for us to get Kyler to pair with Harrison. It's frustrating to see CJ Stroud go at 72 to a team with no Texans. So it would have been great to get Stroud at 81 to pair up with Diggs. So now it is a little bit of an awkward spot for the quarterbacks that we could potentially be looking at later on. So we do need to consider when we take wide receivers going forward that we're still having to look for guys that could potentially set us up with quarterbacks later. Okay. Jaden Daniels going is tough for us as well because Daniels is one of those guys you can take and then you can go Dotson later, or you can take and say, even if I whiff on a stack, we're chilling because he has rushing upside. Okay. Let's go through. Joshua Palmer off the board, 102. Yeah, Joshua Palmer is one of those guys we could take, set ourselves up with Justin Herbert a little later on. Lockett's one of those guys we could take, set ourselves up with Geno later on. So I think we're going to take the player that's been skyrocketing up drop boards lately. It seems like Chase Brown is getting a lot of steam as the starting running back potentially for the Cincinnati Bengals. Like the majority of drafts that I've been in today, you've seen Chase Brown actually go ahead of Zach Moss. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to take him here. But real quick, Scout says, hey, Mason, the second pick in a dynasty startup, 3 receivers, 2 flex. Who do you think the best choice would be? And maybe advice for rounds 2 and 3. If it is a 1 quarterback format, needs to be a receiver. It's either going to be Lamb or Jefferson, whoever falls. If it is a 2 quarterback league, it needs to be a quarterback, either Allen or Mahomes, whoever falls. And then the only thing that I would say is if it's a 3 wide receiver, 2 flex league, you're more likely than not, if it's a full PPR format, wanting to slam wide receivers early. So potentially look to go wide receiver at the 2-3 turn. Except if it's a 1 quarterback league. Super flex league. But just in case you don't know, my friend, if you go to flockfantasy.com, you can pull up the community rankings for completely free. And that should help you out, especially in the early rounds of your dynasty league. And if you're a member of flockfantasy.com, hit add filter, hit my name. I just updated my dynasty rankings. Okay, so we could go Purdy and then try to get Sticky Ricky later. I definitely don't feel super comfortable about that. Shaheed is injured. Don't feel really good about taking Shaheed. Caleb, we have no bear. It's such a weird spot. We are going to go ahead. We will take Javonte Williams. Do I feel good about it? Not at all. But yeah, we will take Javonte and really be panicking at wide receiver and quarterback. Cameron says trade Etienne for Nico straight up in a dynasty superflex PPR format. Probably, my friend. A-Rod says, do you have a Discord setup? Yeah, so if you are a member of flockfantasy.com, just click the Discord icon at the very top right of the homepage, and it should link your flockfantasy.com account with your Discord account, my friend. Okay. And I realized, I think, why we had the internet connection yesterday. The reason we had the internet issues is I probably had, across Safari and Google Chrome, 10 separate windows open on my computer, and we were live streaming at once. So, idiotic move by me. I was panicking when the stream started going down yesterday because I was like, oh my gosh, I'm not going to be able to end the stream on my phone. This is just going to be me streaming like for the next 6 hours, nothing. Okay. Teresa says Shaheed's injured. Yeah, Shaheed has been falling down draft boards. Sounds like he's dealing with the hamstring. ADP 105. Shaheed made it down to 119 in this draft. So let's see. King Rube says you use both browsers. Yeah, so I am like I'm very weird that I use Safari. I know everybody only uses Google Chrome. But I have to use Google Chrome for some things because I'm logged into some Google accounts, like to upload like Google Drives and random crap like that. So I do have to use Google. And also for YouTube live streams because I use the pop-out chat feature, which is like a Google Chrome extension. Jared Goff goes 126. Oof. You know what this smells like? Smell it in the air. This smells like a Justin Herbert, Quentin Johnston team. What? God, this is getting exciting. Running back the classics here. We are going to go with an unstacked Brock Purdy. I'm dying for quarterback. Brock Purdy makes it 19 picks past ADP. We can technically still go Sticky Ricky later on. So we are going to take a Mr. Brock Purdy. Okay. Schultz goes 130. Josh Downs 131. Spree Dog says 30 likes, 500. Hit the like. Yes, we will fire up another draft if we hit 500 likes on the stream. So go down there, hit that like button if you have not done so already. Okay, let's move this over. And we cannot take any more running backs in this draft, just in case we didn't make that clear previously. Charbonnet goes 133. Great value for Ford and Charbonnet. Doesn't, I mean, helps us that they go, of course, because we can't take him anyway. Okay, Austin Eckler goes 134. So going back to what we were talking about previously in terms of us trying to figure out wide receivers to take based off of quarterbacks being available later. If Gabe Davis would have fallen and Mike Williams would have been there as well, we go Mike Williams for sure because we need to set ourselves up with the ability to go Aaron Rodgers. Whereas like taking Gabe Davis when we still need quarterbacks would not really help us out in terms of us not being able to take Lawrence, where Lawrence has been gone for about 20 picks. So we'll go Mike Williams. We have Breece Hall. Maybe we make the argument, oh, we take Rodgers, and what happens if this Jets offense is top 5? Are we able to turn $25 into $25,000 then? Hopefully. We'll see. Okay. Now let's see. Rico Dowdle off the board 139. Leggett goes 140. So apparently Leggett dealing with a lower body injury. Leggett's been falling just a little bit in these drafts. Okay. Great for us to see all these green bubbles. It's kind of what we need. Let's move this down. Hawkinson goes 145. Let's move this over. Titans still in play for us for sure. Sticky Ricky is kind of who we're targeting when we have Purdy unstacked though. Which, honestly, we should get him if you look at the way that ADPs line up. And he has been falling in drafts as of late with it looking like Ayuk may have signed the extension. Darnell Mooney off the board. If we're looking at these quarterbacks here with Stafford, Deshaun, you could go Watson and then target Elijah Moore at the very end of the draft. King Jabby says, bro looks exhausted already and not even week 1. Go. For the love of God, don't tell me I look exhausted already. Do I look worn out? Do I look tired? Because if so, there are going to be issues this season. I'll tell you that much. All right, we're going to go ahead. We will take Sticky Ricky. I mean, pretty much we're locked into that pick once we take Brock Purdy with no other Niners. And I think this draft has fallen perfectly for us at this point. Running back, we have Breece, Rashad White, Najee Harris, Chase Brown, Javonte Williams. Wide receiver, we have Harrison, Diggs, Ridley, Addison, Mike Williams, Sticky Ricky. Tight end, we have Kelsey. And quarterback, we have Brock Purdy. Okay, so let's move this over. A-Rod says, looking refreshed if you ask me. Thank you, my friend. Love to hear it. Love to hear it. Steve says, you don't look worn out, but that hairline, though. I mean, I'm legit. Here's what I may end up having to do. The thing is, I don't care how the hairline looks in real life. I have a girlfriend. I'm going to be just fine. But for YouTube, on the other hand, that's different. That's different. I need the hairline to be looking okay for YouTube. So here's what we may end up doing. What would probably be cheaper than the Turkey trip. And also, if we go to Turkey and get a new hairline, I'm not going to be able to work out for a while, which would be a little tough. I vote I just get a wig. And nobody says anything about it. We just act like it's normal. We just act like nothing's ever happened. We good to go there. Let me know. Okay. So Rodgers, obviously easy pick when we have Mike Williams, as well as when we have Breece Hall. But yeah, look at how obnoxious this dog is. Do you see her just standing out there wanting to go out? She hears someone out there scratching on the door. Miley, what are you doing? In and out. Okay. Let's do. Marvin Mims, 168. Honestly, I freaking love this team. I thought halfway through this draft, I was going to be sitting here crying, going, oh my gosh, guys, I promise you I'm okay at drafting. This isn't a representative of who I am. Honestly, no, we got lucky and this turned out to be a decent team. Running back, we have Breece Hall, Rashad White, Najee Harris, Chase Brown, Javonte Williams. Wide receiver, we have Harrison, Diggs, Ridley, Addison, Mike Williams, Sticky Ricky. Tight end, we have Kelsey. Quarterback, we have Purdy stacked up with Sticky Ricky. And we have Rodgers stacked up with Mike Williams and Breece Hall, if that matters. Okay. GCNA says, I hit the like button, but I don't know if you button that shirt. Take a guess. Okay, let's go over under. I'm going to let you know how many buttons this shirt has and take a guess how many are buttoned right now. It has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have 7 buttons on this shirt. How many of them do you think are buttoned? Well, let's see. Okay. Let's move this over. Quentin Johnson. Ooh, don't tempt me. Don't tempt me. We got 5, 3, 4, 5, 3, 3, 2, 0, 6, 5, 3, 3. Y'all have way too much confidence in me. The correct answer is a total of 1 of these buttons is buttoned. We are looking okay from here up, but anywhere lower than that would be devastating to let the camera see. We're going to go ahead. We will take Wan'Dale Robinson. We need another receiver. What's great about taking Wan'Dale here is we can still get Daniel Jones a little later. We can still get Daniel Jones. Kieran Rube says, stand up, Mason. YouTube would take this stream down if I stood up. We would be immediately. Our channel would have a strike on it. I would be messaging YouTube. Of course, they would never get back to me, but trying to figure out how to get our channel reinstated. Can't have that kind of risk going into the football season, my friend. Okay, Braylon Allen at 180. So good for us. Want to continue to see these running backs go. And I think we honestly go Daniel Jones. We'll just go ahead and we'll reach on him here. If we were going to do anything else, we'd reach on Justin Fields. But we don't have Pittsburgh stack. I think that we can just go Jones, move on. I mean, if you look at the other receivers here, they're all about the same. We'll take Daniel Jones. And I think we're going to fire up another draft. I think we're going to take 2 tight ends at the end of this. I really like this team. This is a decent team here. Let's move this down. All right, we're going to go tight ends to finish this bad boy off. But let me hide who I'm queuing up because I don't need y'all sniping me. So let's get these guys up. Just make sure I'm not going to auto draft a running back or something. Now, here we have a little bit of flexibility of what tournament we want to get in next. Here's what we're going to do. We have a lot of people out here. I'm going to get in a $500 underdog draft. We are going to get into the big dog. This is the tournament that I won for $100,000 2 years ago. It looks like it's not going to fill. There are 9 spots open. I was hoping there are only going to be like 3 or 4 spots open and we could probably fill it. So here's what we're going to do. I'm leaving the $500 draft And let's go ahead and let's test out how many people are in the $1,000 one. Let's freaking go wild this live stream. Let's fire up the 1,000. Okay. There's nobody in the 1,000. We're leaving that one as well. Never mind, ladies and gentlemen. Never mind. Let me know what tournament you want to see next. We can just, honestly, we're probably going to rip a Best Ball Mania. We're probably going to get a $25 Best Ball Mania. I've already maxed out the Rottweiler. The sad thing is with Best Ball Mania, it's a 30 seconds timer. So it's going to be a slower feel overall. Not as quick, not as I'm not going to be on the edge of my seat the entire time. We did pick 6, thank God. I mean, hell, we had a really good start to pick 9 earlier anyway, so that's no harm, no foul. But good news, bad news. Good news for y'all is we get another draft. Bad news for y'all, since it's a slower draft, my short attention span is probably going to have me rambling about other stuff. And here's what I need to ramble to y'all about right now. I've been talking to my girlfriend about it because I told her I was going to live a normal life this year. I told her, you know what? I'm not going to stream for over 200 days in a row. During the season, I'm not going to be sitting at my desk for 14 hours a day. I'm going to live a normal life. But we've been developing some pretty cool things on flockfantasy.com all off season. And they are all coming together. I'm not promoting flockfantasy.com right now. Like, I'm not, obviously I'll talk about it every once in a while, but I'm not really promoting it a ton because the UI looks a little outdated. Whereas the developers are doing an overhaul with the entire redesign. We hired a designer and he just freaking crushed it. And so the site's going to look so good from a functionality perspective. It is going to be great. So y'all know during the season how usually whenever we live stream Q&A fantasy football questions, and essentially it'll be people coming in and donating like $3 and asking a start sit question, and me just pulling up the little bubble and saying like, oh yeah, I would start Mike Evans over Chris Godwin. Instead, we built out everything into the website with UI where you can link your fantasy football team. You can ask a start sit question directly through the site. I can pull up and have everything shown, and a really cool interface built out to answer questions through that and review your teams through that and review trade questions through that, the whole 9 yards. The thing is, do we open that up 24/7 during the season and just have me streaming for 8 hours a day? So I don't know if I can handle it in my old age. We may try, but that's been on my mind a lot. And I know this is just completely random, and you'll see what I'm saying a month from now. But yeah, I'm just trying to figure out how much can I realistically stream during the season this year without just completely losing my mind and maybe completely losing my girlfriend. We'll see. Okay. But we are going to go Jefferson at 6. Like we've talked about time and time again, going wide receiver round 1 is going to give you the flexibility where we can get the running back values that we like in the middle rounds. Now in this draft, you see Puka go at 11. So it looks like nobody's really stressing about the Puka knee injury. But I do want to point out that you do have the continued trend now of Breece Hall getting drafted ahead of Bijan Robinson, which is interesting. Okay. Live like Larry says, I understand working hard, my man, but get your quality of life too. My thing is, in the past, for the Dynasty channel, and honestly, during the redraft season as well, we used to make videos every single day, like even in January and February. I mean, January, February, March, April, May, June, July. We used to make videos every single day. I think what I'm probably going to do this next year is just go freaking nuts during the season, stream 8 hours a day, do multiple videos every single day. But then during January, February, March, April, May, 1 video a week. I'm pseudo retiring. 1 video a week. Shane says, Running with you, going on 3 years now. Safe to say I'm excited for the season. Yahoo picked 9, 10 team full PPR. Deciding between A.J. Brown, Garrett Wilson, then JT or Gibbs on the way back. I'm for sure going A.J. Brown over Garrett Wilson, my friend. He's been significantly better for 3 years straight. And 2 years straight, Garrett Wilson's only been in the league for 2 years. And also, the Eagles offense should be better than the Jets offense this year. And I'm for sure going to go with Gibbs over JT in a full PPR format where the target volume should be significantly higher. And at the same time, if you were looking at Gibbs versus JT, there should be so many more points scored in Detroit. For sure, go with A.J. Brown and Gibbs, and I think that'd be a great start. Okay. Now, we're going to go ahead. We will take Jonathan Taylor at 19. Like I discussed in the first draft that we did on the stream, really when we set ourselves up with Jefferson in round 1, a lot of the times we understand we're either going to go with the wide receiver in round 2 and then go with Kyren Williams in round 3, or we're going to go Jonathan Taylor in round 2 if he does make it this far. Sinclair says, how do you feel about Bowers? Also, any advice for pick 11 in a 12-team PPR redraft league? I think Bowers is a very good tight end prospect. I mean, he had 5 rushing touchdowns at Georgia. When's the last time you heard of a tight end being such a good playmaker? He's scoring rushing touchdowns. The issue with Brock Bowers for 2024 is, 1, the Raiders offense should be very bad. And 2, Brock Bowers at the very best will be the second option in this passing offense. So personally, at cost, I haven't been taking a lot of Brock Bowers because personally, I prefer Deshaun Watson, but that's just me. Okay. Here, real quick, let me let someone in who's ever here. Sorry about that, but let's move this in. But yeah, so I'm not taking a lot of Bowers just because I think the situation is horrible. And also, I think we're a little bit spoiled about what Sam Laporta did this past season. And then pick 11 in a 12-team PPR redraft format. If it's a 2 wide receiver, 1 flex league, I would love to mix in Gibbs if he's there. And if not, you're probably going to be going with like Puka and Wilson. But I would love to see if we could get Gibbs in a regular redraft league. Okay. Now, Metcalf off the board at 27. Let's move this around. The question is, if we're looking at DJ Moore versus Kyren Williams at 30, who do we go with? And Kyren goes 28, so we don't have to ask ourselves that question, really. How much neighbors do I have? Let's figure this out. Looking at Giants, I have 12% Wan'Dale Robinson. I have 6% neighbors. Honestly, I did not expect that much. Devin the Dude, happy to see us. Has been watching since the 2022 season. Good luck this year, but even more luck to myself. Good luck, my guy. And thank you for sticking with us for so long. Okay. Let's see. Malik Neighbors goes. I'm not going to be taking Derrick Henry here. What do we decide to do? I'm going to go Laporta. We're going Laporta at 30. I don't know. I mean, I think that I'm just more comfortable with the wide receivers that are going to be available in the middle of round 4. Like, I think the wide receivers available to us in the middle of round 4 are the same guys that we would take at 30. So if I want Sam Laporta, might as well just go ahead and get Sam Laporta. I mean, I have a ton of him already. Ryan says, I've never used Underdog. Do I just join a tournament draft and it sets my lineup? Yeah, so at the end of every single week, your best potential starting lineup will automatically be submitted for you. It's how I draft hundreds of these teams. If I had to submit my starting lineup, I'd never be able to. So say hypothetically you draft like DJ Chark, right, in your last round, and then you would never expect it in a million years, but in week 3, he randomly had an 80-yard receiving touchdown. If he was your 3rd highest scoring receiver that week, you would just immediately slide up to your wide receiver 3. So yeah, there's just absolutely no time commitment during the season. No waiver wire moves. So your roster construction is going to matter a ton as well. If you're new to Underdog, what I'd recommend is going to 2 to 3 starting quarterbacks in every draft, 4 to 6 running backs in every draft. I would be going with 2 to 3 tight ends in every draft, and the rest of your slots are going to be wide receiver. Okay. Demonic Seller says, Mason, the new guy, needs to see the states map. I got you. Let me pull this up. And yeah, if you wanted to be on Underdog and you wanted to hop in some drafts, you do need to be in these states. Good news is it is available in almost every state. It's available in Texas, available in California, available in Florida, available in New York, available in Michigan. And yeah, if you wanted to join a draft with us, you can find that link in the description and the comment section. Code FLOCK will get you hooked up with my 2024 rankings, my 2024 fantasy football draft guide, updated every single Sunday, will be sent to the email you signed up to Underdog with your account. 2024 made a $10 deposit minimum. And then also you will get a 50% deposit bonus up to $250. And since we signed that 3-year deal with Underdog, they're hooking everybody up with an exclusive Flock Pick'em. Christian McCaffrey, more than less than half total rushing yard for week 1. Okay. Let's move this over. T. Higgins goes. Do we just... This is a reckless move, okay? This is extremely reckless. I do not recommend anybody to do this. If I knew Josh Allen was going to make it to us at 43, I would not have taken Sam Laporta at 30. If I knew Josh Allen would have made it here, I would have just gone DJ Moore in round 3 and I'd have played it safe. The playing it safe move right now would be to just go ahead and take Amari Cooper there in the middle of the 4th round. Kadarius Toney is in this draft with us at pick 4. He says he wanted Allen. My friend, I possibly made a massive mistake taking Josh Allen here, so we'll see. We'll see. Greasy Granny, I have my tight end rankings coming out on the channel in 2 days. Grant says Kincaid coming back. The issue is, if Kincaid comes back in the 5th to us, do we take him already having Laporta? And this is the issue that I was saying, that if we knew Allen was going to make it to us, I think taking DJ Moore at pick 30 is by far and away the better call. Now, of course, the issue is when we go Sam Laporta at pick 30, I have no idea that Josh Allen's going to make it this far. So, I mean, it's kind of difficult to predict. It is what it is. But dear God. Bummy Asian says, does a Lamb holdout worry at all? I have the second pick in my redraft league going with him or Brees. Lamb holding out does not worry me whatsoever because I think CeeDee Lamb is the caliber of a player that he is going to get paid no matter what. This isn't like a Le'Veon Bell situation where he's a running back and then all of a sudden there is validity to a holdout. No. We have never seen a player at such an important position that had that talent profile hold out, not get paid, and not play. Sheridan says, what would you be willing to give up for Dobbs in Dynasty? I think, honestly, Dobbs is my wide receiver 3 there. I would sell Dobbs for an early second, to be honest with you. This is a very bad draft strategy. Do not follow me with this. I am telling you right now, I understand this was very bad. I should not have taken Sam Laporta at 30. When we take Sam Laporta at 30, I probably should not take Josh Allen at 43 because we set the dominoes in action to just... We set these dominoes on their path, and I know where this path leads. This path leads to a garbage team with absolutely no wide receiver production. Sebastian says, it's risky, but it's sexy. My guy, there's never been a sentence that has described me better. Sebastian just described me in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 words. God, that was efficient usage of the human language, my friend, of the English language, that is. Torsten says, I love this bully tight end strategy. Interested to see how this works out. It's probably not going to work out well. I mean, if we had DJ Moore in round 3 here, I mean, I am rolling. I am cruising. I am jumping up and down with joy. But it's tough. It's tough. King Rube says, I think you're drafting Laporta near his ceiling. I think Sam Laporta has the ceiling that we've seen from Kelsey in years past. Based off so many different variables. One, how Detroit currently projects to be the second best offense in the NFL. 2, the departure of Josh Reynolds and no solidified wide receiver 2 outside of the field stretching option in Jamison Williams. No solidified wide receiver 3. 3, the fact that Sam Laporta was just the best rookie tight end in NFL history. So, if Sam Laporta was in a bad offense, I would agree. I think we'd be drafting Sam Laporta at his ceiling. But I think Sam Laporta could score 16 touchdowns this next year. No, we have no other option here. And when I say no other option, I mean no other option but to go wide receiver. Let's see what Kate does. And honestly, here in this range, I personally rank Ladd Brian Thomas over Deontay Johnson. But when we only have one receiver, I'm not really sitting here thinking about the ceiling with these guys. I just need any type of production I could possibly get. So if Deontay was going to be the wide receiver 1 that was available on that list, I was going to go with Deontay Johnson. He's not. We get Christian Watson. Christian Watson, for the love of God, let's look forward 12 months, and hopefully this is the story we're looking back on. Oh, a wide receiver in a great offense that had a great rookie season, hyper efficient from a yards per route run perspective, got injured in year 2, struggled a bit, but massive breakout in year 3. That's what we need for this team to be good. Is it going to happen? Probably not. But this is Best Ball Mania. This is a $25 buy-in, $1.5 million for first place. So we are rolling the dice to the best of our ability here. Okay. King Rube says, I'll bet 2K of creatine, John. That's pretty funny. Torsten says, you're going to go McCarthy for the Jefferson stack. So if you look at what you have with McCarthy news coming out of Minnesota, it looks like McCarthy's having a great camp. From whatever I'm reading, it sounds like McCarthy really isn't going to be behind Darnold for too long. But we'll see. We'll see. Vadim says this team is dead. Sadly, I probably agree with you. Let's move this over. Brian Thomas off the board at 72. No matter what, it doesn't matter if freaking Kenneth Walker makes it to us in round 7. We have 2 wide receivers in an underdog draft through the first 6 rounds. We have to go with a wide receiver here. Now, what's actually funny is when I won the big dog for $100,000 2 years ago, I had 2 wide receivers in the first 7 rounds. So it's not impossible, not ideal, but definitely not impossible. Okay. Torsten says, what's your take on the Puka knee injury? For the time being, I would take Garrett Wilson over him, but I'm still going to be drafting him at the 1-2 turn. Teresa, I'm okay with only having 1 running back because I think we're going to get super strong running backs available to us in round 8 and honestly round 9 as well. But we'll see. Keon Coleman goes 76. Obviously, I'd have been excited to get Keon. Let's see what happens here. Thank God we get Jackson Smith and Chigba. It would have been so bad if JSN went. Oh, thank God. Oh, I was really stressing on that one, not going to lie. You're down bad when you're stressing to see if you're going to get JSN making it to a pick 78. You're down bad when that's happening. But let's see. So we have Jefferson, Watson, JSN at receiver. Come on. At least we have the anchor wide receiver Jefferson holding it down. When we won that big dog tournament for $100K 2 years ago, we did have the anchor receiver in A.J. Brown holding it down for us. Now, we took A.J. Brown at the 2-3 turn that year. But, I mean, also, he did come out and he gave you a top 5 wide receiver finish. So, I mean, we need Jefferson to be a top 3-ish wide receiver if this team has any validity to it. And we need to hit on a couple of these mid-round options. Okay. Let's see. Steve says, do you like Pollard or Spears? You have to choose one. For sure, Pollard. This coaching staff did not draft Spears, but they signed Pollard to a pretty nice deal. I think Pollard's the guy. Obviously, it's not guaranteed, and that's why they go so close to each other in drafts. But we've seen the ceiling from Pollard before. He's not too old. I'm fine drafting Pollard with where he goes. Okay. See, Jameson off 82. Curtis Samuel goes 83. God, this is a stressful team. And you definitely feel how much slower this is, being in the 30-second timer for Best Ball Mania versus the 20-second timers that we were doing earlier. Cam Got Kicked says, took Jefferson at 108, St. Brown at 208 for a keeper. Oh, keepers this year. Okay, that makes sense. How do we attack the 308? Elite tight end if available, or go running back, no questions. I think, honestly, if you get the ability to go Laporta, if you get the ability to go with Kelsey, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to go with an elite tight end. But if you can get like Devon Achane making it too, then of course you can go running back. But I think you stay flexible. If it's a 2 wide receiver, 1 flex league, though, I'd pretty confidently be going running back or tight end. Naeem says another draft for 1,000 likes. If we had 1,000 likes, for sure we're firing up another draft, my friend. Without question. Okay. Now, here is where things get real awkward. Here's to the point where, how down bad are we really at wide receiver? Are we about to take Courtland Sutton wide receiver 50 over Zamir White? Probably not. We're probably going Zamir here. I would have really liked to get DeAndre Hopkins making it to us at 91. If Hopkins made it to us, if Addison made it to us, I would have done a backflip on the live stream. I would have hit the gritty. I would have done whatever y'all wanted. I would have been excited. But once you have those guys off and you're looking at this teardrop, and I know people are maybe going to say, well, Mason, the first draft you took Sutton over DeAndre Hopkins. Why would you want Hopkins here over Sutton? The reason being is this is Best Ball Mania. So if you look at the amount of teams that were drafted in this before the DeAndre Hopkins injury, there were already like 350,000 teams drafted that took DeAndre Hopkins much earlier than where he goes now. So when those 350,000 teams took DeAndre Hopkins in round 6, we're getting some closing line value if we take him at round 8 now. So in Best Ball Mania, I prefer Hopkins over Sutton, but if it's a blank slate like the tournament that we did before this, if we're just talking straight up points, give me Sutton over Hopkins. Okay. Let's move. Joshua Palmer goes 96. That is no bueno for your boy. Ooh. Romeo Dobbs going is no bueno for your boy. Here's what we are looking at. We're looking at quarterback, running back, wide receiver. David Njoku goes, that's what we need to see. We need to see some tight ends get drafted. We need to see some tight ends. Grant saying it's going to be a 2-4-10-2, but we're not doing that. We're not doing that. Probably end up taking 9 receivers, but do we go Lockett over Moss and Pollard? I think we have to. Here's what we're saying with this team. Here's the hypothetical. Here's how this team turns $25 into $1.5 million. We get a DK Metcalf injury, and despite that DK Metcalf injury, Geno Smith is still in the top half of the NFL in total passing yards. And then we see Jackson Smith-Njigba as a mid-wide receiver 2, and we see Tyler Lockett as a low-end wide receiver 2, giving us the spike weeks that we need. That's the path for this team. God knows if it gets there, probably doesn't. But now we go Lockett, pair up with JSN. We're definitely going to be targeting Geno. Yeah, this definitely looks more like a 2-5-9-2 build for me. I know maybe 2-4-10-2. The issue is I just think with wide receiver prices being pushed up across the board on Underdog this year, very rarely do I want to be going with the extra receiver. Okay. Now we have a run on running backs after we go with Tyler Lockett, which obviously these are the best guys. Cooler says, why are Underdog drafts treated different than ESPN? So if you're in your regular redraft league, you're going to be making moves during the year, right? That's going to be the league that you pay attention to during the season, that you commit your time to. There, you're going to be able to make waiver wire pickups. So you're going to be able to, say, go through and pick up the hot guy in week 4. You're going to be able to pick up Kyron Williams at the beginning of the season. Here, there are no waiver wire pickups. There are no trades. So if you, say, hypothetically, I think wide receivers are overvalued, this hypothetical scenario. So I go, in my regular redraft league on ESPN, I'm not going to draft any receivers. I'm going to take a ton of running backs. I'm going to get an elite quarterback. I'm going to get an elite tight ends. And I'll trade for a receiver during the season. I'll pick up a wide receiver off waivers. You can't do that in this draft. If a position gets away from you, you can't fix it during the season. So you have to have it nailed in during the year. So let's see what Cade decides to do. Go Shaheed. Do we go Singletary versus Dontavian? We're going to go Dontavian Wicks, and maybe this is a story that we're saying, oh no, the Packers wide receiver room goes nuclear. Maybe Gene Reed gets injured and Christian Watson and Dontavian Wicks see a massive uptick in targets. I do not know, don't ask me how this team wins, but we're going to tell a story. Mr. Salty Peanut says, what's your strategy for pick 9 in a redraft league? If you get any of these top 8 players falling to you, you take them. If you get CMC, he's not falling, but if you get CMC, Bijan, Brees, if you get Lamb, Tyree, Chase, St. Brown, Jefferson, if you get any of those 8 players falling to you, you easily take them. If they don't, you pivot over to Jahmyr Gibbs. If it's a league where you can only start 2 wide receivers, 1 flex, you take Jahmyr Gibbs there at pick 9. You go with the best wide receiver in round 2. If you can get Puka, if you can get Garrett Wilson. And then at the end of round 3, if you can get an elite tight end like Laporta, an elite tight end like Kelsey, and the beginning of round 4, if you can get an elite quarterback. Sherney says, would you trade 2 seconds for Bryce Young in a super flex league? Yes, I would. Obviously, rookie picks, just in case y'all don't know. Ryan says, will we see a draft recap at the end of the year if you win $1.5 million? My friend, if I win $1.5 million on Underdog, not only will you see a draft recap video, but you will also hear about it every single day from now until the end of time. Every single time you click on one of my videos, here will be the intro. Welcome, welcome. I am Mason Dodd. I won $1.5 million in fantasy football 7 years ago. I will talk about it forever. I will show it every chance I get. Don't you worry about that, my friend. I'm going to be talking about the fact that I won 2 Underdog tournaments for $150,000. I won a tournament for $100,000, won a tournament for $20,000, got 16th place in Best Ball Mania for $10K, and then miscellaneous things. But I'm going to be talking about the $150,000 for the next 10 years. Imagine if I win 1.5. Okay, so Zeke goes, now I think we can pivot back over to running back. We will go ahead. We will take Gus Edwards. Sounds like Vidal, not really someone that you need to worry about here. And Edwards should have a role in a very good offense that wants to run the ball. Okay. And Dallas Goedert, makes it down to 127. So let's go down the hypothetical situation of, with 2020 hindsight, where was the mistake? What could we have done differently? And what would have made this draft much, much better? Looking at round 3, us deciding to go Sam Laporta screwed us. Hypothetically, in round 3, we go DJ Moore. Beautiful spot. Then going around at pick 126, you know what I'm able to do? I'm able to take Dallas Goedert instead of Gus Edwards. But it is what it is. John says Mason would buy Comedy Mothership and make Rogan the bartender. Exactly. Torsten says next year, this Underdog where I won 150K 3 years ago. Yeah, the real question is how long can I stretch that out? The real question is how long can I stretch out the 150K season? All I know, and I told my girlfriend this. I've said, for the love of God, I need to win another tournament this year. Which, I mean, if you look at your odds of winning a tournament, well, it's like so nuts as I won multiple tournaments in the same year. Like, I don't know if anybody's ever done that. Just because the probability that you win one tournament is so tiny. The fact Like to win 2 and then get 16th place in baseball, it's literally unheard of. But in my mind, I've convinced myself, even though the probability of winning a tournament is so microscopic, because we've done it before, I'm like, oh, I'm doing it again. I need to do it again. I need to get it so I can brag about it in videos. So. But I've told her, I'm like, I don't know how long I can stretch out that season. I don't know how long I can talk about that. But we are just quarterback, running back, wide receiver through the rest of this, as we've already discussed. We're going to go ahead. We will take Mike Williams here. Mike Williams has fallen like a freaking rock lately. Mike Williams used to have an ADP of 125. And I've been taking him thinking, oh, he's fallen past ADP. I need a wide receiver. I'm getting a value. And then he just continues to fall and fall and fall and fall. Dylan says, how many likes for a 4th draft? If we hit 800 likes, we'll fire up a 4th draft. Not going to lie, my girlfriend got back. She picked us up some Thai food. I have some yellow curry waiting for me in the other room. I can smell it from here. I'm starving. But if we hit 800 likes, I'll fire up another. So we go Mike Williams, Dodson, Leggett, Ty Chandler immediately after. Plana says he's missing 4 weeks. Hopefully not. For the teams I've drafted him, would not be good. Treasurer says, why do you raise the likes? It's 700 likes. The reason we're raising the likes, my friend, is because there's Thai food in the other room. I'm hungry, and I would love to eat it. Okay, let's move this. We are quarterback, running back, wide receiver. The quarterbacks that are in play for us, Geno to go with JSN and Lockett. And we could go Rodgers now to pair up with Mike Williams. And obviously we can go McCarthy to pair up with Jefferson. Yeah, unless y'all want to see me, I mean, I can slurp some curry in front of y'all if y'all are interested in that. I mean, usually we have that behind the paywall on flockfantasy.com, but if y'all hold my feet to the fire. Planet says, doesn't the pup mean an auto 4-week miss? Not right now. The pup only means an auto 4-week miss if you start the season on the pup. But you can be at training camp. But there are a ton of players on the pup right now that will play at the beginning of the year. Okay, Herbert off the board, 148. We just continue to play catch up at wide receiver. We'll take Darnell Mooney. Looks like Rondale Moore's not doing anything in Atlanta. Looks like Mooney is locked into the number 2 job. A lot of people think the Atlanta Falcons passing offense is going to be much better than what we've seen in the past. Yet tend to kind of agree with them. And while London looks like he's really good, I mean, at the same time, it's not like London's guaranteed to be a stud. So let's move this down. Okay. Jaleel goes 151. And I know that this is going to be off topic, but y'all know we have to, our third drafts, this is when I'm allowed to talk about whatever I want. So I used to be a picky eater, and I used to not try many things. I was from a small suburb, the typical little suburban boy. I didn't try a bunch of weird food until I got to Austin. Took me a couple of years, but then I went out of my shell and started trying new things. If you have not had curry before, I am telling you right now, you are not living life to the fullest. Whether it's Indian curry, whether it is Thai curry, just start something simple. Go with the coconut curry. I was super reluctant to try it. I thought it was going to ruin my day for putting it in my body. No idea why I thought that, but however, it is now by far and away my favorite food. And I would highly recommend. If anybody else here is a picky eater like I previously was, break out of that shell and try it. You will not regret it. Yeah, I will say, I think Indian food is the best food. Like Thai food is phenomenal as well. And let me know what y'all think of this theory. This is maybe a bad theory. Maybe I shouldn't say this. Here's my theory on why Indian food is the best. One, and I could be wrong by this, I'm an idiot. India has all the spices, right? And they've had all the spices for a very long time. They've had the chance to figure this all out. They've had a longer time period to figure this out than we have. Two, a high percentage of Indian people are vegetarian. So they have to figure out how to make food taste very good with no meat. And they've had a lot of practice at it. They've done a great job at it. And now I get to add chicken to it, and it's twice as good. What was my other reason? I had three things that I always say. I had the vegetarian thing. They've had spices for a long time. Oh, and they have the most people in the world, right? So they have a bunch of people there testing things out. This is a tough spot. We could go Cousins, pair him up with Mooney at a crazy value. But the issue is, if we were to do that, then all of a sudden we have Allen, Cousins on the same bye week. I only want to take two quarterbacks here, so I'm gonna chicken out. I was really in the back of my mind hoping that Cousins was gonna fall until I realized that they were the same bye. But we'll go ahead. We will take Quentin Johnston at 163 and just continue to play catch up at wide receiver and see if we get random spikes from the receivers when we need them. Vinny says, curry is delicious since there are so many types. Yellow Thai curry goes hard. That's what's waiting for me in the other room, my friend. Cheeky Opson says, shirts, food rocks. See you in 2 weeks. Hell yes, my guy. Happy to see ya. And yeah, my favorite place, and I know you live close to there, my guy. Garcia's. Ooh, Garcia's. Immaculate. Best chips and salsa in town. Let's... Yes, y'all should try to get me to y'all need to figure out how to get me to stop taking Quentin Johnston, because I agree it is a problem. Quentin Johnston is most likely a bum. I've said it, I admit it, I know it. But the thing is, I think Wan'Dale Robinson, Rashad Bateman, Michael Wilson, Burton, Adam Thielen, I think most likely all these guys are bums. But I think Quentin Johnston's with a pretty good quarterback in an uncertain depth chart. So I'd never recommend anybody take Quentin Johnston in a redraft league like on ESPN or Yahoo. But here I think we can make some in. Maybe if Vidal makes it to us, we go with Vidal and say, oh, okay, maybe Vidal and Gus Edwards have everything in this backfield. And you just have absolutely nothing coming from J.K. Dobbins, and Dobbins is just completely done. Abels is pretty good. Cheeky, I forgot about that. I had a friend work at Pasha growing up. Rogers has the same bye. We're in the same boat there. Do we just take the same bye, sacrifice the points in week 12? What other quarterback can we go with? We're going to sacrifice the week 12 points. It is what it is. Not ideal. It's the reason we didn't take Cousins, but I was hoping that we were going to get Geno Smith. We get sniped on Geno. Really awkward situation. But yeah, I never tried Pasha because I was, like I said, in my little shell where I was too afraid to try different food. Okay. I primarily don't care about bye weeks. Like I said, I'm actively making the decision here to draft two quarterbacks with the week 12 bye. Because like I said, we are trying to optimize for weeks 15, 16, 17. So I'm willing to sacrifice a little bit of our I am willing to sacrifice a little bit of our weeks 1 through 14 projection if it's going to optimize what we can do in the final three. But I mean, definitely would have been much better to get Geno Smith over Aaron Rodgers there, of course. Okay. Naeem says, I did a 2-4-10-2 build in the Flock Community Tournament. I'd have been very interested to see how that played out, my friend. I'm excited for the flock tournament again tomorrow. I'm just so pumped that we get to do flock tournaments often. Lauren says Fields no stack. Fields no stack honestly could have been the move. Okay, so let's move this over. Vidal falling like a rock. He probably should be. Like I said, this is the team that we can possibly go Vidal in. Say the hypothetical situation. What happens if J.K. Dobbins is a complete dud this year, and then you only have Vidal and Gus Edwards touching the ball in Los Angeles, and we have both of them? And we got hit with the thumbs up thing. Let me fix this. Ooh. All right. And oh dear, are we really going to hit 800 likes? Y'all may see me slip, and I'm slurping some curry. Dear God, are we just going to take Hunter Miller? Oh dear God. What else would we do? We need one more receiver. We need 2 more running backs. Let's just take Miller. Miller, I got, I believe, in the last round of a draft today. Like, he's quickly becoming someone that's not even getting drafted. But y'all, God, the thing is, curry would be the worst thing for me to possibly eat on the stream. Maybe we can try this, because if I'm going to be streaming for 8 hours a day during the season, I need to be able to eat on stream. Leonard says, Mason, how tall are you, or should I just look at Metcalf's height? So yeah, we had some people calling us out on this. I don't know if y'all had the chance to watch the wide receiver rankings video earlier today. So I was saying how, like, I know a lot of people just assume that DK Metcalf's have some massive upside because you look at his frame. He's built like I am, and obviously that just screams upside, upside, upside. And we had some people in the comment section going, Mason, why are you saying Metcalf's built like you? I know you're a lot bigger than Metcalf. What's the deal? So just full transparency, whenever I said that in the video earlier today, I was operating under the assumption that DK Metcalf has gone on a bulk this offseason, and I'm assuming he's put on some size. But Timothy says, was it just me, or did I see Mason into Calvin Klein? Oh my gosh. I cannot believe you recognize me in that. I specifically told them. Only shots underneath the belly button. Maybe they stayed to my rule and they kept it to shots underneath the belly button. You still recognize me? If that's the case, my guy, we got some serious issues. Okay. Now, let's see. Malachi Corley would be in play for us. Like, we have no rookie receivers. We need another guy. We have Aaron Rodgers. Loop says, got to get some Jamal Williams, at least one share. And Leonard says this may actually hit 800. God, we need them 20-second timers back. But anyway, let me see. What did Jamal Williams, what was the official stat line last year? 13 games played, 106 carries for 306 rushing yards. Jamal Williams averaged 2.9 yards per carry last year, and now he's going to be 29 years old. Like, I think Jamal's just done. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, we are going to get Malachi Corley. We're going to pair him up with Rodgers, and we're going to take one running back to end this off. This was probably one of the weirdest Best Ball Mania teams I've drafted this year. Probably one of the weirdest. But yeah, 14 more likes to fire up another draft. So if you have not done so already, go down there, hit that like button, and we will potentially fire up another draft and potentially fire up some curry in this office. Okay. Let's move this over. Leonard says, when you have the Flock meetup, you should do live fantasy drafts. I think it'll be really cool at the Flock meetup if people want to get together and set up some leagues. Because what's good about the Flock meetup is it's August 22nd, so it's still going to be like 10 days before the season starts. So and a bunch of people are in the same area. So I'm assuming that people are going to be forming some leagues at the meetup, which should be really cool. 3 more likes. And let's see. Yeah. So like I said, at the meetup, I mean, it should be a ton of fun. I mean, we're going to have the place for hours. Doors open at 6:30. Should be really, really cool. Okay. And we're going to be taking a running back here in the last round. But we hit 300 likes, so let me queue up some running backs. Dylan. Is there anybody else? I'll throw Jamal Williams on the list just for y'all. But let's go ahead and let's get in another Best Ball Mania tournament. Largest tournament Underdog, $1.5 million prize pool. I'm sorry, $15 million prize pool, $1.5 million for first. The top 20 places all get at least 6 figures, which would have been really nice when 2 years ago I got 16th place. Back then, the prize pool was set up differently. So back then, 16th place was only $10,000. Would have been nice to get 100, but it is what it is. So we're going to be pick 7. So pick 7 should be pretty interesting because this is going to be a team that we more likely than not are going to go running back round 1. Unless, of course, someone surprises us. And if someone ends up pivoting over to Bijan, if someone ends up pivoting over to Brees in front of us, then maybe we get a receiver. But I'm assuming that this will be a running back pick. Aiden says, is Anthony Richardson an elite quarterback? Define elite. I think Anthony Richardson is a QB1. Do I think Anthony Richardson is an elite quarterback? I'm just repeating myself. Define elite. Okay. That's over. Vinny says, got in at 9 yet again. Parallel draft, got the Mason curse. Love to hear it, my guy. Dick Nordy says, draft a team of players you usually don't take. I take a lot of guys. I mean, I'll let you know every time that we're on the clock what players I usually take in this range and what players I usually avoid. But if someone falls well past ADP, I'll take them just because I'm going to draft hundreds of teams, right? So if I'm going to draft hundreds of teams, might as well like mix in guys, because I fully acknowledge I'm an idiot. I'm wrong all the time, right? Like I can go through the laundry list of things that I've been horribly, horribly wrong on. So if a player falls well past ADP, even if I'm not a big fan of him, I'll take him. Okay. So it looks like, yeah, most likely we are going to get a running back unless St. Brown falls. And just to let you know who I usually take in this range. I usually take Brees Hall. I don't take much Bijan Robinson, and I'm going to continue to do just that. We're going to go ahead and we're going to take Brees Hall at 7. This used to be like a very hot take. It used to be like nobody else was going Brees over Bijan. But now more and more often you are seeing this happen. Mostly Peace says, welcome to being a member of the flock, my friend. Happy to see you. Jam says Brees Hall or Jonathan Taylor. Brees Hall by a mile. Torsten says, how much Goff percentage do you have? I'll let you know all my Detroit Lions. Y'all know I really trust sports books putting out their season-long projections. I think they're a lot better than what I can do on my own, so I keep those in mind when I draft. And the Detroit Lions currently are supposed to be the second highest scoring offense in the NFL this season. So I have 17% Sam Laporta, 11% Jared Goff, 11% Amon-Ra St. Brown, 9% Gibbs, 8% Jameson, 6% Montgomery. So I am overweight Lions. The offense I'm also overweight with is the Vikings, where I'm at 21% Addison, 12% Jones, 11% Jefferson, 9% Hawkinson, 5% McCarthy. And I have no Darnold. Okay. Leonard says it's too risky to go Hall first round of a redraft league. No, I'd love to go Hall first round of a redraft league. Here, super flat tier of wide receivers, right? We're going to just take Deebo Samuel. Not a super interesting pick, not a super unique pick. Just out of these guys, if we're looking for players that have wide ranges of outcomes, I think Deebo could be overdrafted if Ayuk does play in San Francisco. If Ayuk doesn't get a deal done, I think that Deebo and Ayuk gets dealt. I think Deebo could be a massive value here in comparison to the other wide receivers in this range. And we know we have to go a wide receiver pretty much no matter what whenever we go with Breece Hall round 1. Or we put ourselves in a position that we were in this last time. Okay. Waddle 22. God. The girlfriend's asking if she should wait to walk the dog with me and eat. I really want to, but yeah, you know the football season's here and we're going to start. I need to start eating before I stream. I'm not used to the super long live streams anymore. Not used to the 2+ hours, but we'll get it going. The Pound says best ball keeping the Sunday scaries away. Happy to see you, my guy. I've heard the term Sunday scaries before, but what are Sunday scaries? Let's see. A-Rod says not feeling great about my St. Brown Ayuk drafts at the moment. What's the logic? Why would you not be feeling good about them? Do you think Ayuk's getting dealt? I think St. Brown Ayuk seems like a really strong start, especially with large field tournaments where you're looking for week 17 correlation. Sean says anxiety before work on Monday. Oh, okay. Well, for me, a little bit different, especially during the seasons, during the year, whenever I start streaming at like 7 a.m. Central, I wake up at like 6 a.m. Central, and then I'll be making videos until like 3 a.m. Sundays for me during the season are pretty much a 24-hour work day. So maybe I have the Saturday scaries. We're going to go ahead. We will take Metcalf. Not a super exciting pick in my mind. I mean, if you look at Metcalf, he's finished higher than the wide receiver 21 season of his NFL career. Obviously, people are saying that this Seattle offense is going to be more pass happy with the change with the overall coaching staff. I don't know if it's true. I do know we need a receiver. I know Metcalf typically doesn't fall this far, so we'll take him. A-Rod says because of the possibility of him getting dealt. I wonder. Tresner says Ayuk getting delt's probably a low chance. I don't know. It's just everything is so up in the air. I have a lot of Sticky Ricky. He's come down over the past few weeks, and I took him in a few high stakes drafts. So if you look at like dollars invested into players, I would be printing if Sticky Ricky got dealt. I mean, if Ayuk got dealt, I don't care where you send him. Send him to Carolina. I don't even have many Panthers now that Deontay Johnson's ADP has been steamed up. My most drafted Panthers, Chuba. Send him to Washington. I don't really have many Commanders. I have the most drafted Commander I have is Eckler. It doesn't hurt Eckler at all. Yeah, I would love for Ayuk to get dealt based on just the raw amount of dollars that I have into Sticky Ricky. Jalen Hurts goes to the Breece Hall team. So honestly, pretty unique team for us to be able to pair up DK Metcalf and Michael Pittman Jr. I mean, this is really what you kind of want to be doing if you're going to be going with an anchor RB on Underdog, is just slamming the receivers immediately after so we don't fall too far behind like we did in the last draft. So Torsten says the Niners want to win the Super Bowl. Why should they trade him? He's not holding out. If they did not take a wide receiver in round 1 this year, I would say that there was no shot that they were trading him. But I always look at team actions trying to indicate what they could potentially be doing. And for them to take a wide receiver round 1, I don't know. It does just... It does add some validity to everything. Okay. Andy says, Ricky's struggling at practice to separate, apparently. So reports like this matter not at all to me. I don't know if y'all have had a chance, but I'm actually putting out YouTube Shorts, which is like the first time I've ever found YouTube Shorts useful. I've been putting out YouTube Shorts with training camp reports that I think actually matter. And what we are putting out essentially is nothing along the lines of, oh, Malik Neighbors looks really good. Oh, people are saying that Drake May looks very bad. Because in reality, that's all just opinion-based. It is very difficult to deem anything from that with these rookie reports. What we're focusing in on training camp is running back usage, is current injury updates with guys like Jonathan Brooks, TJ Hawkinson, and trying to stray away and kind of not listen to too much the beat reporters saying, oh, this guy looks good or this guy looks bad. Because who really knows? Yeah, like the Xavier Worthy clip of him getting like hit in press, like that matters not at all to me, to be honest. Torsten says, your YouTube Shorts about Pick 9 was the best I've ever seen. Yeah. Thank you, my friend. I didn't even, our editor, Thomas the GOAT, put that together for us. And I didn't expect it. He just sent it to me one day. I was like, oh, this is good. Okay. Now, Christian Kirk off the board, pick 51. I have noticed Kirk falling, which is honestly good for us because we really haven't drafted any of them. And he says, at what point does camp news matter? Like I said, when it comes to usage, depth charts, injury updates. So like I would make an argument that some camp news that really matters is hearing like that A.J. Dillon may be the running back 2 instead of Marshawn Lloyd. I think you have to move Marshawn Lloyd down. Hearing that Jonathan Brooks may be out for a decent amount of time, I think you may have to move Jonathan Brooks down, move Chuba Hubbard up. Hearing that Algier may have a role here, I think you have to move Brees over Bijan if you didn't already have him, you know. So I think the usage stuff, that's what I'm primarily paying attention to. We are going to take Keenan Allen. Y'all know I'm not a big Hollywood Brown guy. Have not drafted much Hollywood. Will not draft much Hollywood at this cost. But Tommy says, hey, Mason, different type of question today. What's been the worst pick you've seen someone make in these drafts that you know wasn't an auto pick? So there are a couple different ways that we can take this. Obviously, we can take this to the people who have no idea what they're doing, where you'll occasionally get in a draft and someone will have one wide receiver through the first 10 rounds. But I don't know if we want to be pointing out that stuff. Because, I mean, it's just not like, it's not actionable. It's not going to help anybody just picking on someone that doesn't really know what they're doing and stepping into. I think maybe like looking back at some of the mistakes that I think people have made that have been absolutely atrocious, that like were clear mistakes at the time being, and looking back were obviously mistakes with 2020 hindsight. Like if y'all remember, there's a point of the offseason last year where Kadarius Toney was getting drafted ahead of Mike Evans. Because Kadarius Toney ran like 40 routes and had a high yards per route run. And people were pointing to that. So, I don't know. I would say last year when people were going quarterbacks at the beginning of the second round, the end of the first round, just because the elite quarterback crushed 2 years ago. We're going to go Pitts. We don't have a tight end. We need to set ourselves up with potential quarterbacks later. We go Pitts. We can set ourselves up with Cousins. I don't have a lot of Pitts this year, and it is scary because I've lost money drafting Pitts for 2 years straight, and I feel like I'm about to lose money fading Pitts this year. Loop says, do you think Taysom Hill has any upside? Really love him as a player. Just sucks they made him as a quarterback on Underdog. On Underdog, zero upside whatsoever. Do not take Taysom Hill because he's listed as a quarterback. If you look at my redraft rankings, like on flockfantasy.com, you'll see I have Taysom ranked. Like, I think Taysom, if you can get him at tight end, hell yes, he has upside. Let's do it. Okay. Vadim says, someone took Justice Hill with the first pick and the draft got thrown out. So those that figured, yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like, if you see someone go in and they take Justice Hill with their first pick, the draft gets thrown out of the tournament. You know what I mean? So it doesn't really matter. Okay. Vinny says, if Underdog does indeed do a new Flock community draft every Monday and Thursday night until the season starts, we'd get the Flock 10.0 on September 2nd. Hell yes, my guy. But yeah, we should have a new Flock tournament tomorrow on Underdog. So make sure if you're not already, hit that link in the description, in the comment section, live chat, use code Flock. Okay, Walker goes 71. So if you're looking at quarterback options, we have a lot, right? I mean, we can go with Debo, Purdy. We can go Geno, Metcalf. We can go Caleb, Keenan. We can go Cousins, Pets. A little bit frustrating that we don't get the ability to take Anthony Richardson around 5, but it is what it is. Frank says Puka injury update. Was there anything new? I'll look it up. So of late, there's nothing on Puka. Looks like he banged up his knee. Okay. I'll look up Puka again. Yeah, there's nothing new with Puka. Marcus says he has 1% Puka in 365 drafts. My guy, been there, done that, and I'm scarred and will never do it again. We're going to go ahead. We're going to have Jackson Smith and Jigba at 79. And to be honest with you, actually, it's a lie saying been there, done that, because last year I did not have Puka in 1% in my drafts. I had Puka in 0% of my drafts. Not only did I have Puka in 0% of my drafts, I came out and I specifically said he has no upside. And then we all got to witness very publicly Puka Nacua putting up the best rookie wide receiver season, arguably of all time. Really fun stuff. Okay. But yeah, we have Brees at running back, wide receiver. We have Debo, DK, Pittman, Keenan, JSN. We have Kyle Pitts at tight ends. Going JSN here, pretty easy call whenever we have DK Metcalf. Setting ourselves up with that maybe call option on if the Seattle Seahawks are going to be a better passing offense this year with the changing coaching staff. Okay. Stevenson, 83. John says, Puka won me a lot of money last season. Greatest waiver wire pickup. LOL. Obviously, once Puka had week 1, it was like easy to say, oh yes, if this guy's not available, if this guy's on your waivers, go pick him up. But I will say, it's so funny that I whiffed so hard on Puka. And I read a comment like a month ago saying like, oh, Mason, super excited for the season. A really, really nice comment. I just feel bad reading it because I know how wrong I was. Saying like, oh, Mason, super excited for the season. You helped me so much telling me to pick up Puka Nacua off waivers week 1. I won my league because of it. I'm sitting there going, congrats on winning your league, my guy. I don't know if I deserve any credit on that whatsoever, though. Okay. Now, Tresner says you're going to whiff so hard on Brendan Rice this year, too. Rice does have similar profile. I mean, open depth chart, day 3 prospect, same city even. Jordan Addison goes, I'm not taking Curtis Samuel here at all. Burrow, if I took T. Higgins in round 4. Between Zamir White, Jonathan Brooks, DeAndre Swift. we will just go ahead and we will take Zamir White at 90. Issue with Zamir White is he's not really going to catch the ball. And it's bad offense. It's Archie says, watching this live is educational. Your thoughts are one elite running back earlier affords you to draft heavy wide receiver till round 6 on. Yes, because in underdog drafts, you will get great values where you can get guys like Zamir White at pick 90. However, in your ESPN draft, if you are going to look at the running backs like Zamir White going at pick like 55, there it's probably not as advantageous to wait so long on your running back 2. So definitely look at the ADP for the platform that you're drafting on and try to identify what position you want to be drafting when you get to round 6, 7, 8, 9. And if you really like the running back values there, you probably maybe don't need to take running backs early on. Or if you really like the wide receiver values there, then maybe you don't need to take wide receivers early on. Okay. Let's move this down. Dak goes 94. Burrow goes 92. I would have loved to get Addison making it to us at 90, but honestly, maybe that team saves us from ourselves and taking Addison before us because I already have a lot of Jordan Addison. Okay, so Jonathan Brooks 95, DeAndre Swift 96. Daniels goes 97. Sutton. Really, I mean, we can do anything with this pick. It does look like Chase Brown, like we discussed previously, is getting steamed up, where Brown is going to have an ADP higher than Zach Moss when we look back a week from now. Brock Bowers goes 100. Let's see what Kodos does. I think we may end up taking either Chase Brown or Joshua Palmer. Because if Chase Brown's getting steamed up where he looks like he's potentially the running back 1 in Cincinnati, I've said this before, I'm not a big Chase Brown fan. But I'm also not a big Zach Moss fan. And what I do know is there are going to be a lot of points scored in this offense. So even if I don't love the running back, it's a tough spot to be underweight on them. I probably want to be in line with the market. Torsten says QB targets for this draft. I mean, QB targets for this draft, we have a few. Obviously, Geno Smith when we have both DK Metcalf and JSN. But we can also go with Keenan. We can also go Caleb with Keenan. And we can also go Purdy with Debo. So quarterback definitely going to be in play with us at pick 114, where this is typically the range that you have both Caleb Williams and Brock Purdy going. But if Joshua Palmer falls, we could go Palmer and then look at Herbert later on, of course. Lightning says Chase Brown, my most drafted player. My guy, that's a good call with how high Chase Brown's moving up draft boards right now. Like I said, I don't have a lot of Chase Brown. I definitely wish I drafted more of him earlier in the offseason when he was cheaper. You see him moving up boards, and I don't think this is going to stop. I think he's going to continue to move up. Caleb goes 112. So we're going to take either Joshua Palmer or Brock Purdy. When Palmer makes it to 114, I do think it's a pretty unique pick taking Joshua Palmer here and then still having the ability to go ahead and take Justin Herbert later on. I do really love Brock Purdy at this price point, and in most drafts, I will take Purdy here. But let's see. Michael says, Chase Brown, fastest play from scrimmage as a running back. Don't care about that too much, to be honest with you. What I think matters most about Chase Brown, to be honest, is looking at his profile coming out. And if you look at his profile, I mean, it was decent. 209 pounds, a BMI of 30, ran a 4.43. The issue with Brown is he just simply does not catch the ball, or at least has not caught the ball. But in a pretty good offense, and Cincinnati should be fine. Avi says, Phelan Jefferson at 6 and Kyron at the 205 in a 10-team league. I'd be completely fine with that, my friend. Obviously, you're not going to get Kyron at the same price in your regular redraft league than you would on Underdog. Vaughn says, so what's the difference in drafting style between Underdog and ESPN? The main thing is wide receivers are going to be pushed up across the board on Underdog. You're going to get running back values late. And since you're not going to be able to make waiver wire moves during the year, and it's best ball, so your best starting lineup is going to be submitted for you every week. On Underdog, you're going to be drafting backup tight ends and backup quarterbacks, where in your ESPN draft, I'd probably recommend if you take Josh Allen, you don't take another quarterback. Okay. James says, I just think if Chase was the guy, they wouldn't have signed Zach Moss. The thing is, they don't give Moss a massive contract, though, and when Mixon leaves, you have to sign somebody. You know, like, you have to bring in a running back no matter what. Who would have been the running back 2 behind Chase Brown if they didn't bring in Zach Moss? You have to have depth at a position. So let's see, does that team goes Goff? So honestly, this works out perfectly for us, where we took Joshua Palmer in the last round. We still get Brock Purdy making it back around to pair up with Deebo Samuel. Literally best case scenario. I don't know if something's happened with Purdy as of late, because this is back-to-back drafts now where Purdy's fallen a considerable amount and we've gotten a strong value on him. Okay. So now running back, we have Breece Hall, Zamir White, Chase Brown. Wide receiver, we have Deebo Samuel, DK Metcalf, Michael Pittman Jr., Keenan Allen, Jackson Smith-Njigba, Joshua Palmer. Tight end, we have Kyle Pitts. Quarterback, we have Brock Purdy stacked up with Deebo Samuel. Tommy says, one thing I'm massively struggling with is drafting tight end. What's been your go-to tight end strategy? Are you modifying it if you have a 0 RB or a hero RB strategy? If you are going 0 RB or hero RB, you are heavily incentivized to go with an elite tight end based off you having the extra available picks at the beginning of your draft, because you're not taking running backs there. Personally, this year for me, at least in Underdog drafts at the moment, I think the elite tight ends are so reasonably priced, where in a lot of drafts, you get Laporta in round 4, you get Kelsey in round 4, you get Mark Andrews, Trey McBride, Dalton Kincaid at the 4-5 turn. So personally, I have been overweight in taking the elite tight ends. Okay. So let's move this over. I mean, getting Purdy there at a value was the absolute dream. What makes this draft so much better than the last draft we did is in the last draft, we put ourselves in a position where we had absolutely zero flexibility. We could not take the falling value. Whereas this draft is a little bit different, where we can take the falling values. Like, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to take Justin Herbert here to pair up with Joshua Palmer. To be honest with you, there's a good shot that Justin Herbert could make it back around to us in round 13, and we may not necessarily have to take him here. But I don't care too much. I think he's a fine value, so we're going to go ahead. I'm going to pull the trigger. Okay, let's go down. Move this down. After we go Justin Herbert, you have Jalen Wright off 139. Stafford goes 141. Definitely when we wait till round 11 to take our first quarterback, we can still go 3. I am not going to be looking to go quarterback anytime soon. But if we get like Geno Smith at a decent value, I think that could be fine. Okay. Ronald says, what time do flock tournaments go live on Monday and Thursdays? This last Thursday, it went live at 8 p.m. Eastern. I can't guarantee what time it's going to go live tomorrow. I would assume 8 p.m. Eastern, but I don't know. I could be wrong. Yeah, I got him with a do. It's like whenever I try to do it consciously, like do, I can't do it. It's just whenever I don't know, whenever my brain shuts down, that's what it does. Okay. So, I mean, we could go Cousins. The thing is, I don't know if we want to go quarterback rounds 11, 12, 13 back to back to back. But Cousins is in play for us if we wanted to pair him up with Pitts. And to be honest with you, if we would have thought about that, knowing that, oh, well, if Justin Herbert doesn't make it to us in the middle of the 13th, we could backup plan, we could go Kirk Cousins. Maybe we would have passed on Herbert, but too little, too late. Frank says, bro's brain reboots to Nardwuar. It does. And literally the only like Nardwuar interviews I've seen. I'm sure I've seen more than just this one, but it's the only one I remember. In case you want to know, and y'all can make fun of me for this, I don't care. If you want to know something about me, I'm a massive Lil Uzi fan. I freaking love Uzi. Old stuff, new stuff, doesn't matter. Freaking love it all. So I love watching Lil Uzi stuff. So obviously I've seen it in the Nardwuar. I've seen him in the Nardwuar interview. Okay. Rico Dowdle falling like a rock. I don't know if we had any news coming out of Dallas with these running backs. I know they were hyping up Royce Freeman, but from what I read, it sounded like that was more regarding Royce Freeman's special team usage. So we'll go ahead and we'll take Dowdle. Von Wake says, what's your favorite type of music? Over the past 4 or so years, it's been country. Really like country music. I like rap, but the rap that I like is not the quote unquote good rap that I know other people like. It's not like Kendrick. I'm not a big Kendrick guy. I like the quote unquote crappy rap. I like 2017 SoundCloud era rap. I like Lil Uzi. You know what I mean? That's the kind of rap that I like. But really it's country. We just went to the Morgan Wallen concert 2 weeks ago. Loved it. And I know Morgan Wallen's not country. I don't care. It is what it is. Was a lot of fun. John says I like 90s grunge. I have been listening to a lot of Nickelback on my runs lately. I'm not going to lie to you. I've been freaking crushing my runs. I don't know if I told y'all this, but I signed up for a 50-mile ultra marathon in Austin. November 2nd. I've never done any. I mean, I've done an Ironman, but I've never done any ultra marathons. So I've been running a lot. I've been running 10 miles every single day. And in those runs, I've been mixing in some Nickelback. But back in the day, I used to listen to a lot of rap because I would just lift weights. And really the main time I listen to music is working out. Because if I'm driving in the car, I'm always listening to a YouTube video or a podcast. So really the only time I listen to music is working out. So back in the day when I would only lift weights, I'd pretty much only listen to rap. But now that I do a lot of running and I do other stuff more cardio based, I mix in a lot of slower type music. Okay. So Ray Davis off the board, 159. Ray Davis has actually been falling down drafts, interestingly. I don't want to say who my guy here is. I do good. We get our guy. We're going to go ahead. We're going to get Chuba Hubbard as our running back 5, and we're probably done drafting running backs now. Running backs for this squad are going to be Breece Hall, Zamir White, Chase Brown, Rico Dowdle, and Chuba Hubbard. Let's go. John says, of course, the king of country, George Strait, baby. I wish I would have... I wish I would have been in Texas for the George Strait Parker McCollum concert in College Station. That was the largest concert ever. I was in France for the Ironman whenever that happened, but I would have loved to go. I've actually seen Parker McCollum back in 2022 in concert. I really like that. Torsten says, how many kilometers is that ultra marathon? I'll look it up. Obviously, I'm American, so my brain just works in miles. 50 miles to Cam. It's a little over 80 kilometers. So yeah, it'll be a 80-kilometer run. John says 110,000 in attendance. I've saw clips from it, and it just looks so cool. It would have been just been iconic to at least say you were there, Marcus says Chris Stapleton's at Austin City Limits. See him there, bro. The issue is ACLs during October. So I actually have not been to ACL since we started streaming every day during the season and just actually treating football as a full-time job. Because I know I sound like, oh, look at me, looking for attention. But I do legitimately work like 14 hours a day, like every single day of the year. I mean, not every single day of the year, every single day of the football season. So like since I started doing this for real, I haven't been to a UT game. I haven't been to ACL. I told my girlfriend I would be more like a normal person this year and I would at least go to one UT game with her. So we'll see. But I would have gone to an ACL day if there was like somebody that I needed to see. Like say if y'all are gonna make fun of me for this, but like if there was someone nuts like Miley Cyrus going to ACL, I would freaking go, But there's just nobody that I was like really excited to see. I went a few years back whenever Gambino was supposed to be there. Childish Gambino was there, but I was only able to go one day, and then I couldn't go the day that Childish Gambino was there. Okay. But Isaiah Likely off 172. I kind of want to go 3 tight ends and 3 quarterbacks with this build. So we can go Levis and then go Chig later on. And honestly, we can do this and even go Tyler Boyd. So we're going to do. We're going to go ahead. We're going to take Will Levis as our QB3. And then Chig is available as our second tight end next. Oh, if we don't get him, we can go Tyler Boyd. So it's not the end of the world because we are going to grab one more wide receiver and then 2 more tight ends. A-Rod says, hopefully Puka falls on the news. Yeah, Puka has not fallen in a single draft that we did today. Like, I don't think Puka made it to the second round in a single draft. Okay. Okay, Estime off the board, 178. Good for us to see as many tight ends go as possible. Frank says, ever a situation for a 4 quarterback or a 4 tight end build? I know some people in the live stream last year were trying to get us to do 4 tight end builds. It's just bad. Don't do a 4 tight end build. Don't do a 4 QB build. If it's a super flex underdog draft, obviously that's different. Maybe if it's a 20-round underdog draft and you wait till like the last 4 rounds, then you can get away with it. But in the 18-round regular 1 QB drafts, never take 4 quarterbacks. Never take 4 tight ends. I want it. Torsten says Miley Cyrus is great. Would love to see her live in concert. I would love to see Cyrus live. Miley live, whatever her name. Miley Cyrus live. But let's move this around. Crazy Leg says 1 quarterback, 6 point per passing touchdown, half point per completion. How early to draft a QB? I would go pretty damn early. And a big thing, too, that people don't understand with this is you're also going to want to kind of change the quarterbacks that you're going after. Lamar Jackson and Anthony Richardson are less valuable in this league. Because if you're getting half a point per completion and 6 points per passing touchdown, you just want the guys that are going to be just racking up a ridiculous amount of passing volume. And you actually shouldn't care too much about the rushing upside of the quarterback in that format. We're just going to go ahead. We're going to get Chig here. But yeah, like, don't draft make sure you're optimizing for the guy that you want to be drafting there and someone that you think can potentially lead the NFL in passing attempts. And yeah, take them early if you think you can, because they're just going to run laps around everybody else. But I'm freaking starving. I'm going to go eat some curry. 2.5 hour live stream. If you have not done so already, hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you play fantasy football. You can see the team here. Pretty decent team. We're going to go with 1 receiver and 1 tight end in this draft. And yeah, we're going to draft every single night on live stream. So if you have not done so already, hop on Underdog. We're going to have a Flock exclusive tournament tomorrow. So get on Underdog. Link in the description, link in the comment section, link in the live chat. Code Flock will get you my draft guide, my rankings, my ADP draft cheat sheet, a 50% deposit bonus up to $250, plus a special Christian McCaffrey pick'em more than less than half a total yard for week 1. You do need to be in one of these states, though, if you want to draft on Underdog. Let's see if I can find that little button. And also, real quick, if you're anywhere near Austin, Texas, come out to the meetup. Should be a lot of fun. It's Austin 22nd in Austin, Texas. If you're in San Antonio, if you're in Houston, if you're in Dallas, you can make it. I know you can. I'm sorry we have to sell tickets, but I have to tell the venue how many people are coming, and this is the only way. Flockfantasy.store, they're only $15. I'm giving away free merch. It's half price beer. I'm losing money doing this. So please come hang out. Should be a lot of fun. You can find those on flockfantasy.store if you want to get a ticket. But thank you. Really do appreciate you, ladies and gentlemen. Really hope we get to see you out with the live stream tomorrow night. And one last thing, Mad Max is happy BR Keeper League. I'm keeping Warren in the 12th, Kyron in the 17th. 4th pick, CMC, Lamb, Jamar, Jefferson, Bijan, the best available. Would trade the 4th spot for the 1st spot to get CMC, he offered. Yeah, I mean, obviously it depends what you're going to have to add up to it, but I mean, I would love to go get... The thing is actually in a keeper league, you may want to keep Lamb, Jamar, Jefferson over CMC anyway. So actually, there's really no difference there in the one at pick 1 versus the other picks because those other guys give you longer term value. It's not like there's a significant drop off this year. But thank you. Really appreciate you. And really hope I get to see you out with the drafts tomorrow night.